Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craven.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
Jojo Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Watch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
All right, guys. So yeah, we were just talking a little bit before we started recording, but just, about pacing ourselves as content creators. When you're doing YouTube, just like you were saying, Fate, just like when you have a regular job, if you're a family person, which all of us are to some degree at least, you have to find ways to pace yourself. And my question to you guys is, what has that been like for you guys? Because, I think all of us have been pretty busy. We had Halloween, we're going into the, Christmas season, and that's a family time. And obviously in January, we've got this huge release. So what has pacing been like for you guys? Because I've got something that I wanted to share too, but I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah, pacing's been tough. It's tough to just kind of like balance everything, like between making videos and hanging out with your family, hanging out with your friends.
Right.
And sometimes it goes one way or the other. Like for me, especially, it's tough to keep it at like about at a 50-50. I'm typically almost 90% one way or the other. Either just constantly making videos and not spending enough time with my family, or doing the opposite. Like I'm always with my family, my friends, and I'm just kind of ignoring my videos, which past week or so it's been kind of the case. I haven't been making videos as much, and I don't want to burn out. That's something else in the back of my head. I don't want to get to a point where what I'm putting out isn't me at my 110%, because something else we had just brought up is that like Steven, I think you said this, that like 60 or 70% of your audience on almost every video typically is unsubscribed people, where this is their first impression of you. Right. I don't want to put something out where it doesn't seem like I'm super excited about what I'm talking about. All the stuff I talk about on my channel across the board, I am super excited and super into. I don't want it to come off as anything else, honestly. Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
What about you, Steven?
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. And it is hard. I find it, especially like probably the last, 2-3 weeks, the content, like especially for Scream specifically, which is what really as you guys know, that's what I'm really focused on right now. I'm going to do other things, but that's kind of what I'm focused on right now. So the content, a volume of information we're receiving from TV ads, from Brazil, from all over the world, that stuff just keeps dropping like out of nowhere. Like, where does this ad come from? And then you throw on top of the actual 12 Screams of Christmas and all the posters and all the interviews and the feature ads that just keep dropping. It's like really difficult because you want to get all of that information out. I want to get all that out to all of my subscribers, but at the same time, if I truly did that every day, it would not work out. It just, the balance of life and YouTube, it just wouldn't work. It's difficult. So like right now, I'm literally working on a video now featuring 2 of the ads on one video, because I can't just keep doing one for one. It's just, it's too hectic. So, I love the content. It's not like I'm complaining. It's great to have all this amazing pool of content, right? But at the same time, everyone watching, I'm sure you realize, or you may not realize, but we do all have lives that don't revolve all around our channels. I mean, our channels are part of our lives, and a big part of our lives, I would say. We probably all would say, but at the same time, it's not the only part. So we have to balance it as best we can for our family duties, our family needs, and just, life in general, work, whatever we're doing. So saying all that is, I'm having to kind of like, okay, I want to talk about this, but I need to talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to wait a day. Instead of putting one out today, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, because then I can just talk about 2 things at one time. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
That's a good way to do it, man. How about you, Fate?
Yeah, it's it kind of goes both ways though too, because like especially like you were touching on with all of the stuff that's being put out constantly. I mean, we have like I did a live stream yesterday, and I was telling people like I could probably post 10 videos a day every day between now and the time that the thing comes out. But it's like do I do that? Like even if I did have the time and I was like did that, just said, hey, I'm just gonna power through this, whatever. If I have to sleep an hour, whatever the case may be, it's only 3 weeks, whatever. Even then, it's like you have the other side of the coin too, where it's like, yeah, you have your audience, you have your core audience. You might get it, but you don't want to drown your audience out either.
Right.
And that's something else that I'll get comment like, oh, you need to talk about this, or you need to talk about that, and I'm like, I'm already 3 videos in today. Like, like, it's like, it's like, hey, like I'm trying to, and you don't want to, but anything like burnout is a big thing, and you need to have, and you hear it, you see it all the time, like content creators, people that work in general, you got to have a nice work-life balance, and it's a luxury being a YouTuber, but at the same time, it's tough, especially when we're in the position we're in now, where this isn't a job right now. This is a hobby, because we're not making money. We're not, we might be monetized. We might be making some change, but it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like I've reached 1 million views officially on my channel, and I've made, thank you. And I've made, so I'd have to like go back and look at it again, but I've it's less than like 10 grand that I've made. Like, think about 1 million views. Think of how many views 1 million views are. Like, that's insane.
Exactly.
And, so like, and that's the thing, like, and I've seen people, and I've had people comment things like that. Like, and it's like, we're not like, you're seeing the ads, you're seeing that stuff, and you're thinking, okay, like, oh, he's got to be making money. That's why he's doing this. And it's just not the case. So we're basically trading our time for an investment in the future, because that's the goal, right? All of us want to one day be successful in this and be able to have this as our job. But most of us, we have things like, whether it's a 9 to 5, whether it's, working at home, whatever the case may be. And to find that balance, it's difficult at times, especially when you have an audience, that demands it. They want the stuff, which is, which again is a great position to be in. I mean, we could be talking to ourselves, but it's a gift as well as a hindrance in many ways. I don't want to say a curse. It's not a curse. It's actually,
it's also so much fun, dude. Oh my
God.
It is. I mean,
it's
like the fact that I get to talk to all 3 of you guys, where like otherwise I would just be a fan, like wanting to talk to all 3 of you guys. Like,
exactly.
This is so cool.
It is.
I think of the other side of that coin sometimes, where I'm like, if I wasn't here talking with all you guys, like I would be like actively watching these live streams, super pumped, wishing I could talk to you guys about Scream and stuff. This is great. I mean, it's a dream come true. I hate to even sound like I'm complaining about it, but sometimes it does get like kind of tough, It is a little tough sometimes.
It's good to just, it's good for people to understand, because I've actually talked about this on several different of my live streams, because I've had people ask me the question and stuff like that, and and I'm honest. I'm a very honest person, especially with my audience, and and I think transparency is key. Like even the comments, like I respond to every comment, but I tell people all the time, like, you don't understand how overwhelming it gets sometimes, like how hard it is to stay on top of that, and then you get people that are responding. So, but it's like you have another 100 comments that, like, it's not so much just the videos. I mean, and in all honesty, when you do this, you realize why most YouTubers don't respond to comments, because it's just so time consuming.
And sometimes you don't even get the comments that are given to you, and you'll have like another comment say, well, you didn't answer my first comment. It's like, oh, I didn't even get it, because that's a whole nother story about how YouTube has a lot of glitches and failures in its system. I've had that happen many times. It's crazy.
It's true.
It's crazy.
But the notifications is not reliable, just so you guys know.
No, not at all.
They're not. We don't always get a notification when you leave a comment or anything like that. We do. It seems to me it's very random. Like sometimes I'll see comments and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was there. It was like a day old. I'm like, okay, let me jump in on that. And so just remember that, guys. If you guys ever get frustrated, like, why aren't you guys responding? Well, a lot of times we honestly don't know. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, leave
Well,
another comment. That
yeah.
would be good.
Do it again. Yeah, well, I mean, it helps. Yeah, exactly.
That's
Well,
accurate.
I've even stated too. I was, I've told like my audience, like there will be a point where I will reach where I just won't be able to respond. Like maybe I'll take an hour to do it, but at some point I'll get so many comments, it's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously I'm not there yet, but there's days where it's like that. There's days where
Mhm.
like, I get 1,000 comments because I post a video that's hot or 2 or 3 videos that are hot, and it's like there's no way I can get through all these. Plus the
Right.
responses, plus everything. It's impossible,
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's just days that like I see it, I'm just like exhausted, but I'm like,
Mhm.
like it's not fair to them. And that's
Right.
how I always look at it. Like I look
Yeah.
at it as like if you're willing to take the time to reach out to me, I should take the time to respond. But
Right.
like it's still it's a challenging task. It's hard to juggle life and work
is.
and YouTube and and until we reach the point of success to where like this is all we have to worry about, then it's I mean even the live streams like like I understand why people have somebody filtering comments and stuff through the live streams. Like I
Yes.
can't keep up
Yeah.
with that stuff.
It's
Like
it's tough.
it's
Well,
crazy.
speaking of which, I'm glad you mentioned that, Fate, because Knight, and I want to hear your input too about what you think about the work-life balance, because you do a lot of live streams, man, and I admire you for like the amount of live streams you do, because that's really huge, man. Because you can make a video at 3 a.m. and
Mhm.
when and post it the next day, but when you're doing a live stream, you've got to be there and you've got a live audience. You can't hit the pause button,
Right.
I mean, now you
Yeah.
could do what Fate did and just unplug his microphone, from his live stream.
I know,
just-
thank you for that.
I had to mention it, but that's hilarious. But
Thank you.
it was just funny, man, because you were just like going to town talking. I'm like, what is he saying? But
Well,
but no,
I think I pulled up because I was holding the mic like this because like I went for like 3 hours, and so I was sitting there because I was gonna do a live stream on Scream Talk. I was gonna launch that, but because I didn't have like 500 subs or whatever at the time because it's a brand new channel, I had to wait like 24 hours, and I didn't know that would happen because when I started doing lives on Fate Decided, I was already past 1,000. And so I went to go live and it was like, oh, you couldn't. And I was going to go live there and then live on Fate Decided. But then I was just like, I might as well just do like 2 hours on Fate Decided. And then that turned into like 3. But I think when I was holding my mic like this, because I'll do that a lot because I get like uncomfortable. I'm trying to sit in a chair for 3 hours.
Lounge singer style.
And I think I just
I'll
unplugged
be
it
there.
or whatever. But yeah, I was going to town and
I'll be
and then,
there.
yeah, like even my girl, because I guess she was watching the live stream, she was like blowing up my phone. But I had my normal phone high, and then I had my work phone low, and then I just saw Craven blowing me up. I was like, what is going on? I looked and I was like, oh, my mic's off. I was like,
Yeah, I was hoping you had your phone with you. 'Cause, I'm like, maybe he put his phone away like for the live stream. I'm like, dude, I gotta
Right.
call him. So I'm like texting like Fate, and I'm
Yes.
calling him.
Well,
And
I always play my live streams. On my work phone just so I can
Mhm.
see like
Nice.
what's going on. But I always turn the volume down.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like, I
Echo.
never have the volume on. I just like
Yeah.
to watch it. Not just that, but like if I get super chats and stuff like that, it
Mhm.
alerts faster on like the actual live than it does on my actual stream. So
Mhm.
like so that's another thing too. So I can get to it immediately without having people wait 10 minutes because that's important. Somebody's contributing to the channel. Like I should
Right.
address it as soon as possible. But yes, but I don't hear the sound, so it just like died, and I was like,
There's so many pitfalls to doing live streams, man. I've probably seen it all. I've had live streams where we started out and everything looks right, in on my laptop and so forth, but there was no volume. And we've had people in the chat be like, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. It's like, oh crap. And like you said, Steven, you can't stop. You have to, I mean, you could stop, but then you'd have to reset up, the virtual room and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's like, you just got to keep going. But
I've had to do that before.
The
I
show
had
must go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
YouTube took a dump on me one time during a live stream. Like literally, it like crashed. I thought it was like my internet or something. I was like, what is going on? And then I got a notification from YouTube saying like, oh, we're sorry. So I had to like hit up everybody, go back live, Luckily,
Yes.
luckily, most of them came back in and were like, "What happened?" But I'm the one that looks like the a-hole. You know, it looks like
Right.
you're like this
Mhm.
guy can't afford internet. You know?
Right.
And I'm like
Increase your
explaining to people,
bandwidth.
yeah, and I'm explaining to people, I'm like, no, like, I'm like,
They
it
were
was
like,
YouTube, like,
fate decided to not have any internet.
Oh dang!
But seriously, you have to have you have to have your ducks lined up, because when you're live, anything could happen. You know, I always tell people, Steven, you know this too. I always say to people,
Mhm.
if for some reason something goes wrong, or
Yep.
something goes wrong on your end, just let me know. Even though we're live,
Mhm.
it's better to be in the know than not. And if we do have to stop it, we'll stop it. Hopefully we don't. I've only had to stop and restart, I think twice, 2 or 3 times.
Oh wow,
And
that's pretty good.
it's not
Yeah.
bad. It's not
No.
bad. But seriously, it's crazy. But to me, the live streaming for my own schedule, it worked really well, because with my schedule being so wacky, having it set for a certain time every
Mhm.
week, it worked really well, because I always knew exactly when I was going to do it. And of course, every once in a while, I'd throw something else in there, but it really was a godsend, because
Mhm.
I honestly did not expect to live stream like that when I first started. Well, my old channel. At first, I was thinking, no, I'm just going to upload videos. And I actually did that for my first, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos. And then I was like, screw this. Let's do some live streaming. And but it worked out well. It worked out well. But you got to balance it, and like I was telling you guys before we started recording, I have a friend, another YouTuber, that was just telling me that he was just, having trouble with pacing, and, he loves doing this. He has a huge passion for movies, and very much, like us. And my heart just went out to him, because I was like, yeah, take your time, dude. And I just saw last night, I saw another YouTuber, a really cool YouTuber. I won't say who it is, but he's well known in the community. And I guess it was from the other day or whatever. He had a video that said taking a break, sort of. And he actually a 10-minute video explaining what was going on. And I was just like, wow. And you could just see in his face that he felt kind of like what you guys were talking about and what you were talking about, Fate. He felt the weight of what his audience expected,
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
level of quality that he usually was giving. And that quality had dipped a little bit, because his personal life became more
Mhm.
hectic. And
Yeah.
so when I saw that, it was just another, I guess what I'm saying, and not to get long-winded, I guess what I'm saying is it just was another reminder to me that this is for fun. This is a passion.
Yeah.
And you always have to be aware of, you got to take care of yourself,
Mhm.
because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your family, you can't take care of your friends, and you definitely can't take care of your channel. So it was just another stark reminder of,
Mhm.
just take care of yourself. And it's tough.
Mhm.
It's tough,
Mhm.
because we all want to do well. We all want to provide good content. We all want to be on top of things that we think we should be on top of. But like you were saying, Jake, sometimes you just got to take a step back, and it's better in the long run.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's why a schedule is important, though, too. I mean, outside of just YouTube in general, because I mean, YouTube, like its algorithm, like encourages a schedule. Like, so for
Mhm.
those that are listening to this that want to start a YouTube or not start a YouTube, if you're posting videos randomly, that's usually not a good sign. Like, if you listen to every top YouTuber ever, they all say the
Mhm.
same thing. Whatever you can commit to it. Because just
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
television, if your favorite TV show was on whenever it felt like it wouldn't get the views and the ratings that it would get, as if
Mhm.
Right.
that's why the shows have 8 p.m. whatever. But like
Mhm.
like for me, like people will ask like, why do you post every day? And it's like, and it's because of the schedule, because I just know myself, like I just get so caught up in like my work and just life and stuff like that. Because I'm not only responsible for me, but because I work for myself, I have clients and all kinds of stuff, and I'm doing investments, I'm handling money, and so like so like I need to have that everyday schedule,
Mhm.
because one, so that way I'm committed and it's like, okay, I'm getting this done. But also two, like it's just like anything else. Like you take a day off and then it's like you start finding excuses for the next day and then the next day and the next day.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
True.
just program myself like, okay, every day I have to get up and wake up and do my normal work stuff. So let's find, an hour here and there to create a video, upload it, stuff like that. Like easy, like program ones I'll do the night before and then, schedule it or whatever. But especially like right now where things are being posted constantly throughout the day. It's like I'm constantly looking stuff up too. It's just finding a schedule I think is important too. Whether you're posting once a week, 3 times a week, whatever the case may be, every day. It's just I think that also helps you from not getting burnt out because we're humans are creatures of habit.
Yes.
Once you get in that habit, then things become easier, it becomes less. But you can burn yourself out pretty quickly. You're trying to do too much at once.
Yeah. And another thing too that I sometimes struggle with as a creator side of me is I suffer from a little bit of this OCD to where it's like it's not severe, but it's enough where like if something breaks, oh my gosh, I want to be the first to break it. Like, and it's ridiculous because it's not a big deal. This is not life altering information. It can be life impacting, but this is not the life and death. So I sometimes have to wrestle with this compulsion I have, this feeling I have that I have to do it. I have to do it now. I got I got to hurry. I got to not that I hurry my videos, but I do try to do them the same way consistently, so that where I feel my standard, whatever the best I can do is there. So I don't mean rush it like shortchange it. I just mean rush it like put everything else aside, like stop everything, stop family time. I have to just stop everything and just do this. And I sometimes struggle with that feeling that I have to do it now. But you know what? Really, I don't. It can wait 6 hours. Who cares if I don't break it first? So the thought of me breaking it first is pretty naive anyway. I mean, we're talking about YouTube. There's millions and millions of people on YouTube.
Right.
So who cares? The fact is that, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just quick brief is that also it goes into like what we talked about on one of the other ones is that we people are there to hear our perspective and our opinion on things. So even if I've talked about stuff the next day and it got just the normal views that I usually get because people are waiting to hear my perspective, or I've even seen stuff where everyone's covered it. I'm like, I'm not going to cover it. Like it's just like it's not important, it's not significant, it's anything. And I'll get flooded with comments that are like, "Why haven't you talked about this?" And it's like there's
you'll feel discouraged, but you should still talk about it because your opinion isn't out there yet.
Exactly.
I have that anxiety a lot. So I have if I'm late to the table on something, I don't even feel like I should talk about it. But it's like you should still put your opinion out there. You shouldn't worry about the views. Just worry about your subscribers want to see this. So
that's true.
But the reason I bring up the views is because that's an indication on if they want to see it or not. You know what I mean? Like,
ultimately you're right. But at the same time, I don't
care about the views. But I don't care. I'll put stuff out. I mean, you and me had a conversation about that exactly, where we were like, just post whatever you want. You can't worry about the views.
Even if your subscribers don't care about Spider-Man,
I was just about to say that, Jake. That is so
Jake.
funny.
Hey, the collective has your back, Jake. I don't care what anybody says.
So, but that's the thing, though, is that it's your core audience, the people that because we all have subscribers, but we all have that core group. Like I have X amount of people that I know that no matter what I post, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, they're with it. The Scream Talk thing. I made an announcement. Boom! I got a couple hundred people to go over there, subscribe immediately, because they're fans of me, and we all have that as creators. So that's why I was telling you, just post whatever you want. Who cares? Your core audience, they're gonna enjoy that, and you want to grow that because those are the people that are gonna ride with you. They're the ones. Everyone else is just looking for a reason to stop following you. They're just looking for a reason to,
or eventually they just do for whatever circumstance. Sometimes people just fall off. But it's funny too, Jay, because when you at first said that, I immediately could sympathize with you because it's like I felt bad, and I was like, man, I've watched so many of your videos. And I've always just what your take on stuff. And
Mhm.
it didn't even matter what you were talking about. There are times you did videos about stuff that I was like, well, but let me just see what Jake is saying,
Mhm.
and like Fate saying, I think that's who you're hoping to keep connection with. And if you
Yes.
want to talk about Spider-Man, you talk about Spider-Man. Like we said before, maybe not the Dodgers, but
Yeah.
but definitely I'm just
Yeah,
playing.
you gotta. Yeah, I mean, as
I
long
am I am pretty upset about the Browns loss last night, but I don't think anyone.
that was rough. I know.
Oh,
Yeah, that was really
man.
rough.
That was embarrassing.
That was yeah, yep.
Yes.
You said it, man.
Yes.
But I don't think my subscribers care at all what I have to say about that. But
Right.
but like you were saying, like if you have a movie channel in general or channel in
Yes.
general, you should talk about movies. You should talk
You
about whatever
should.
movies excite you. And
Yes.
I am a massive Spider-Man fan. I can't say
Yeah.
the same for the other superheroes in the MCU, but
Mhm.
like Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero. And this last movie was it was wonderful in every
Yeah,
possible
man.
capacity.
Yeah.
So, without spoiling anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the same way I feel too, man, because I just love movies. And when I first started doing this, my whole thought was I'm just going to talk about what I like to talk about. And
Yeah.
obviously with my brother and Coriander, I just said, look, let's just have some fun with this. But our biggest love is horror. I said, so that's kind of the entry point. And I remember when we first started talking about, we did a top 10 of comedies like through the decades, and you could see some people are like, I don't know about this, but then over time, we talk about other things that are not horror related, and eventually it did start to kind of connect a little bit more. And I was like, well, that's exactly the way I want to do it. And if people just again, I'm still,
Mhm.
when you told me that story, Jake, I was just so like, oh, I can't believe someone would even say that to you out loud.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's your channel. It's like you
Yeah.
can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk
Exactly.
about. That's the bottom line.
It's Killjoy Jake, not Killjoy you. Okay, this is Jake. And same, it's
Right.
Fate decided. It's the Night Watch zone. It's not the You Watch zone. It's
Mhm.
Craven summons. I mean, if sure we want to make everyone happy, of course we want
Right.
to make stuff that people enjoy. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, guys, if we don't enjoy it, I believe no one will enjoy it. We have to
Right.
enjoy it first.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you know what? If that means that one video gets 200 views and one compared to 2,000, then those 200 people are going to love it, and we're going to rock it out because. But you got your voice out there, man. You got your
Yes.
opinion out there, and
But
it's
see-
something that's important to you.
There's the thing about those videos that like I'll have people like comment like that comment in particular on Spider-Man was like, Jake, look at your Scream videos, you get like 2,000 3,000 views on those, and then you're only getting like 100 views on Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, well, you're not looking at the full picture of the analytics. Sure, I'm only getting 200 views on this, but guess how many subscribers I got from both of my Spider-Man
Bingo.
videos?
Yeah.
I got
There you
25
There
subscribers
you
in
go.
total from just those two videos.
There you
And
go.
if you think about it, because those videos both have such low views, it's like that's even more impactful that way.
A
Like the
percentage.
fact that
Yes.
percentage wise,
Mhm.
I got more subscribers per percentage than I would have on my Scream videos. So
Uh-huh.
it's not like I'm not an idiot. I know I know what I'm doing. Every
Right.
across the board, all those videos that only get like a few hundred views, those are for subscribers. I did one recently
Mhm.
on the new Pumpkinhead remake, and that got me like 30 subscribers, and it only has like
Nice.
400, 500 views.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
There you go, man.
make
I was going to talk about that too on a horror breakdown either today or tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you're like if you're
I'm
a
excited for
content
that.
creator and you're worried about not getting as many views as everybody else, just
Mhm.
look at don't just look at that. Look at everything that your analytics shows you. The one
Right.
thing I will give to YouTube that's a massive plus is they show you like everything across the board about what your video is doing for your channel.
Everything. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's great.
Right.
That's
Analytics. Yeah, I've tried to explain things to people about that stuff, but the thing is that nobody really gets it unless you're doing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
unless you're behind the analytics, you're never going to understand it. Like I can explain it to you, but like the Scream 5 thing, like people ask me all the time, like, why do you title your video Scream 5?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you have to.
just Google search results.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the search
Mhm.
results, number one is Scream 5 because
Yeah.
yes, they're titling it Scream, but if you Google Scream, 96 comes up because
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
the film
Right.
that was out. That's the film that was established. People that are actually looking for it are looking up Scream 5. Like if it was Scream, then my title would be Scream. But no, I put it, and it's what the analytics show. It shows, you know, I mean, it goes as far as demographic, your area, your, you know, which gender, which, you know, all that
ages,
stuff.
even
Like,
even your ages.
The time that
all
you
that
release
stuff.
the video.
Yes,
Exactly.
You know.
yes,
Yeah.
best
I
times
love-
to post your video.
Yeah, I love when like I'll like post like a video and it says like you know your audience isn't generally at this time, but your video's still doing well. Like all those little like messages and stuff. I'm like,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm like analytics. But
right.
yeah, I mean it is. And but one thing I wanted to say about the you know what I think it is though too about like the horror community, and I don't know why, and I don't want to generalize it because obviously it's, you know, everyone's different, but I get a lot of it too. Like when I make Marvel references or like connections, I always get people that are like, oh, well, I'm not a fan of Marvel. Like, why would you make that reference or something like that? I don't know what it is. I think it's just like that. Like, I don't know if it's just two different audiences or if it's just like one extreme or the other.
I think so. I mean, because the fandoms are, you know, like I did a video on Black Widow. I did a video on obviously Spider-Man. I did a video on Wonder Woman 84. You know, a couple different, you know, superhero movies, and they weren't as well received. But you know, like I said, and like you said, Jake, those are things that interest me. So I wanted to talk about those things. But you do have those fans that'll say, well, I'm not really into superhero movies or too much CGI, and all of a sudden it becomes a conversation about practical horror effects. It's like that's not what this conversation is about. I mean, if you want those videos, I got a whole bunch of those you can check out. This is for the people that like the superhero stuff. And again, you could almost drive yourself. I guess what I'm getting at is you could almost drive yourself crazy thinking about the ins and outs of it. And my advice to anyone, just from my own small experience in it, is to just follow your heart.
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
Follow your heart and just let the chips drop where they may, because you know, who knows, man, in another year or two, we may be talking about something that's, you know, a lot different than now, you know, and that may not necessarily be a bad thing. It might be a growth thing. It might be an evolution, you
look
know,
at my
an
entire
expansion.
channel.
It's true.
My entire channel.
Right.
I started something completely different. Like this wasn't
Yes.
even, and it just evolved into what it became. And
Right.
and that's why I'm talking about. You never know what that thing is
Yes.
that leads to success. Like if you would have asked me a year ago, would I have almost 5,000 subs talking about Scream every day? I'd tell you no. Like I'd say it's my favorite horror franchise. I love it. It's, you know, I can't wait for Scream 5, but I never thought it literally was just exactly what you and me were talking about, Jake, where I was like, just post whatever you want, because that's literally what it was. It had nothing to do with my channel. It had nothing to do with my content. It got like, I thought it was going to get like 3 views, and I posted it. It got like 1,500. So I was like, I might as well post another. That one got like $3,000. So I was like, okay, let me, and boom, just snowball effect. And now we're here and I'm part of the collective. And if you would have asked me about that, I never would have said that. And that's
Right.
And that's my whole point is I just think you, from a creator perspective, I mean, you need to stay within a niche, whatever that case may be. But I think you should be able to talk about whatever you want. And again, your core audience are going to be there. Your core audience, and that's all that really matters. Like, you know, like the person that the person that subbed just to stay up to date until the film comes out, and then they're just going to unsubscribe in, you know, in a month. Like those aren't who we're trying to target. We're trying to talk to, like, we always see it. It's always the same people in my live streams. So the same people in my comments. It's always, I mean, obviously there's new ones and new subscribers, but like I have, again, that core couple hundred subscribers that no matter what I do, they're there. Every live stream, if they can't make it, they're devastated. They're like, I'm so sorry. Like, and I'm like, the fact that you even care.
Right. I know. I always say it's no big deal, man. That's what replays are for.
Absolutely.
If you want to watch it, that's great, you know.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Yeah,
well, I think I'll end this kind of. This is a great subject, guys, by the way. And I hope everyone watching, if you came here for Scream 5 talk, I know we ain't got there yet, but I think it's been a really great conversation. And, you know, I want to end this kind of like theme that we're talking about with something that I think I remember from being a kid. I think my mom or dad told me, I've never forgotten it after all these years. They said, if you try to please everyone, you'll please no one.
It's true.
And I say, you know what, I've never forgotten that. And so I've tried to, when it comes to creativity, because it's so subjective, man. You put 5 people in a room and you'll have, half of them will hate you, or it just doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can't please everybody no matter what you do, right? So just make content you enjoy first, and I believe that if you do that, others will enjoy it too. And and I think that all of our channels are proof of that. I mean, to the point we're at now, the growth we're all at. I mean, people are watching because they enjoy us talking about what we talk about. So now they may not like
be the only one.
What?
You're never going to be the only one that likes something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So whatever it is, there's always somebody else that likes the same thing.
The same thing.
It's just finding something you're passionate about, enough about to talk about regularly. It's finding, because that's the thing. We all found a common passion, and that opens doors and it leads to things. I mean, it led to all of us, coming together, creating this thing, and doing the podcast now, doing all this stuff, creating this audience. None of us thought we'd be in the position we were in, a year ago or whatever. You never know until you're there.
Right.
And then you look back and you're like, okay, wow, we're here. Like, let's ride this thing. It's an amazing thing.
But, it really is. It really is. It's a joy to do this. It is.
What's up?
Welcome back.
I am still sick, unfortunately. Is what it's just funny. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I feel for you, man. I really do.
Thanks,
Me
man.
too,
I appreciate
brother.
Jeez,
Man.
I love being sick. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Get
Well,
out
guys,
of it.
listen. Not that being sick made me think of this, but it's Christmas, man. This is our Christmas special.
This is.
And this will come out at 5 p.m. Central Time, Christmas Eve. I'm sure we'll all be posting this at the usual collective time. And so, in fact, I've had several people already messaging me on Instagram and stuff saying, hey, when are you guys going to post on Friday? And I'm like, yes, it'll be normal time, because we're trying to set that expectation of that weekly Friday time. So I'm assuming you guys, we haven't talked about this ahead of time, but I'm assuming you guys are all doing the same, right? We're going to post this at the usual time, so everyone's on our channels. But man, it's Christmas time. What do we got going for Christmas, man? Anything you guys want to share?
Well, I was going to suggest, do we all want to talk about a Christmas horror movie that we all really like? Maybe.
Or maybe or one that we don't like, maybe.
Or there you go.
Or
we don't
give
like
us
too.
one. Give us one you like, one you don't like.
Wow. I think it's a great idea.
There you go.
Well,
that was a good twist.
Jake.
So I just watched, this is one that I would have recently added to my top 5. I have a top 5 Christmas horror movies coming out, or just holiday themed horror movies coming out like later this week. And something that has recently creeped its way up into my top 5 is Krampus from 2015.
Oh, that was mine. I was going to say that.
I've been on the fence about that movie for a long time, and I recently watched the Naughty Cut that they just released. I just bought it from like Best Buy and all that. And dude, that movie's really grown on me. I think the first time I saw it, I thought it was like pretty silly, and it was like, okay, maybe they could have made that a little more like a little gorier and like kind of crazier, but it's a really fun holiday film, and it's nothing too crazy that I would say like, oh, you can't watch this with your parents or anything like that. Like, I feel like you could probably sit down and watch this with your parents, no matter like what their taste in Christmas movies is. It's basically just Christmas Vacation with a demon running around hunting people too. So like,
I like that description.
I mean, like the plot of this movie, it's Christmas Vacation, but it's just you got Krampus running around doing stuff to people. I don't want to say killing specifically, capturing one or the other, but it's from Mike Doherty, who I don't know if you guys know him or not. He did Trick or Treat, and he's from Columbus, Ohio, so like my stomping grounds essentially, which I think is cool. There's even I don't know if this is in the original cut or not, but in the Naughty Cut, I noticed this maybe for the first time. Mind you, I haven't seen this since it was in theaters back in like 2015, 2016. But there's a scene where the main kid from the movie comes downstairs and he has all of his Halloween candy, and he's like, here guys, this is part of my stash from earlier in the year. And when he opens it up, Sam's sucker from Trick or Treat is in the box.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that a
I'm gonna
great
have to watch
reference?
again.
That is a
Yeah,
great
I'm gonna have to
reference.
watch
Wow.
it again.
I don't even
That's
remember
awesome.
that. Wow.
I think that's
Yeah.
just part of the naughty cut because I don't
Okay.
remember seeing that either. I feel like
Yeah.
that would be something I would remember
Right.
from that film, but no, yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a good one. I like that.
it's fun.
Nice.
Fun movie, yeah.
How about you, Fate?
I was going to say Krampus, but he stole it from me. Another one that I think is underrated. It wasn't like a huge blockbuster. I had to look up the exact name just to make sure real quick. It's A Christmas Horror Story. That one's pretty good. If you haven't seen it, it's not like a huge like blockbuster. I believe it might be on Netflix. Here, let's see, watch options. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I have it on Amazon Prime right now. But it's like it's just like I'm trying to think of how to explain it without ruining it because it's excuse me. It's a Christmas horror story, literally. But it's like this interesting roller coaster ride, and you have like this you have Krampus and you have Santa, and it's just it's like I don't know. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is okay. Like I thought it was another B movie. I've seen it probably 5 times because it came out in like 2008 or something like that. And since then, I every time I watch it, I like it more. I'm like, this actually isn't that bad. So that's a little underrated one. I've always liked Krampus since I saw it. I just thought it was like, it is an acquired taste type of film, Krampus. But I thought it did have a nice like mix of like comedy and horror and plus what's the main actor's name?
Adam Scott.
Yeah, Adam Scott. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that guy. That guy's great.
Hot
Tub Time Machine 2. He's fantastic.
Oh God.
That's a deep cut.
That's what I love that movie. High five.
Nice.
So is A Christmas Horror Story, is that the one with the zombie elves?
Yes. So I believe there's a couple stories, but yes, it has the main story that like you find out everything in the end, but it has like a couple like little things, but I believe there are like zombie elves in that.
Because I remember that is coming to mind. I'm like, okay, I definitely remember that from this movie, but like I like just looking at all the pictures and stuff, like the Krampus and all that. Yeah, that is like, wow, I got to do a rewatch on that. That's that looks pretty crazy.
It is. It's like it's like I said. It's definitely like even when you're watching it, it's definitely a B-rated movie. It's not like a huge like blockbuster. But the effects are great. The graphics are great. It's really good. Like Krampus looks great. I wish I had an image to like pull up, but it looks great. Like it's really well done. And it's just a fun film. I mean, most of the Christmas films aren't these like, huge, great quality films.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not like, they're usually hit or miss, but it even has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is great.
Wow.
That's surprising. I didn't think it'd have that.
Holy
I mean, the cast,
moly.
it has a great cast. It just, I mean, you got William Shatner. He's like the radio host.
You've sold me already.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's just like it's just this. It is. It's just this like. It's basically like this DJ telling these like Christmas horror stories, and it's just like this whole thing's like intertwined. And like I said, there's like the main story, but there's like a couple like little stories. And then you have like the main story at the end. Just overall, it's just I don't know. It's a fun film. You got to check it out. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those like you got to see. Like I watched that, and then Jack Frost.
Of course,
I made a video on Jack Frost. That's great. Not the one with Kevin Costner. I'm talking about the killer snowman.
Killer one, absolutely.
and part 2. Yeah, that's
you have to watch them back to back.
Yeah, you do.
Funny, man.
It's great.
Jack Frost.
There's a good one, and then there's like a not so great one, but it's a guilty pleasure. I don't know what it is. The dumbest movie in the world, but it's just so.
Some movies are like that, man. I mean, seriously, some movies can be so bad, but you can enjoy them so much. And it's funny because obviously there are movies that are bad that you would never even want to say the name of the movie, but there are those guilty pleasures. They're there.
True. They are.
Yeah.
What did you
Yes.
guys think of the Black Christmas remake?
Okay, all right. Let me stop you. Can I stop you guys
Yeah.
right now? Because that was actually where I was going right now. I was going to talk about because you guys talked about some good movies, and now I was going to be the Grinch and talk about one of the most horrible, wretched horror remakes I've ever witnessed. The remake of Black Christmas. This movie is worthy of a toilet flush at every opportunity. It is so bad. It is so horribly written. And the whole big reveal, which I won't get into, when you find the reveal, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Are you serious? We're doing that. That's the big reveal. Because, the potential, look, they set it up as a mass killer kind of thing, which, that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
And the original, and I saw the original, I'm like, and it is a masterpiece of its time. There's no doubt about that. In my opinion, it is a masterpiece. And then you bring this, and like, oh my gosh, it was so bad, guys. I don't have enough adjectives to actually describe this movie and how I feel about it. So I will just say that if you have never seen the remake, do not waste. If it's a free rental, just don't even waste your time. That's how bad it is. Even if it doesn't cost you money.
Yeah.
I think it's on like Netflix or Hulu or something like that.
It's
pretty sure it is.
I saw it recently. I didn't watch it recently, but I saw it on like one of those things recently.
It's
and I
so
was like,
bad.
Universally panned and hated.
Pretty much. Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yes.
Like that movie got killed.
Yeah.
The 2006 movie is pretty good though.
It
You guys
is.
see
I
that
was
one?
thinking that one is actually pretty.
Now, I haven't
good.
seen the 2006 remake.
Check it out.
Really?
That one's
Yeah.
pretty solid. I mean, it's
Okay.
not like it's not great. It's not nowhere near as good as the original, but it's good.
Right.
Like I think it's worth a watch for sure. There's
Right.
a point in the movie where like you get this like eyeball stab kill,
Yes.
and literally every kill for the rest of the movie is an eyeball stab. Like I know it's bizarre. It's really like it's creepy. It's effective. I wouldn't want to die that way, but like
Right.
every single kill, like what?
Yeah, the 2006 one was
Interesting.
pretty good. That had
It was. I was
Michelle,
excited.
Michelle Trattenbach or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
It was. I mean, it was like all these just pretty girls at that time period, all like in
Mary
this house
Elizabeth
getting
Winstead.
slashed up. Like it was like, it was like, all right, this is the kind of movie. You sit down, you're like,
Right.
I get it. And even the trailer, like if you remember the trailer back then, that was the whole hype. That's how they hyped it up. Like these, like sorority girls. It's a girls' night. Like guys strap in, and I remember watching the trailer, like. They are really trying to sell this. Like, I was like
we're back to the 80s.
This definitely isn't a family comedy, but
Right.
So are we all like in agreement that the kid from Home Alone became the guy from Saw? Is that
Oh,
is that the holiday
Oh,
theory?
no.
Have you ever heard that theory?
I have heard of that.
There.
I have
Has
not
it-
heard this one
I have.
somehow.
There's literally like there's like an entire like rabbit hole theory about it where they make all these connections and there's like similar scenes in Home Alone that are in Saw and like all this stuff. Basically, that the kid that got left alone in Saw, Macaulay Culkin's character, became what's his name from Saw. Yeah.
Jigsaw.
Has
Jigsaw,
James
yeah.
Wan
John
commented
Kramer.
on this theory? I'm wondering, is
I
James
don't
Wan?
know that much.
I'd
I
like
just
to
wanted
right?
to throw that. I
I don't think you'd like that theory.
Right?
I just don't think so.
Oh my
When Lee
God.
Winnell and James Wan, they're writing this movie. They're just like watching Home Alone in the
Yeah,
background.
background.
Like, pause it. Let me get that in the script. Hold on.
Write that down. Write that down.
This is great. This is great.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the kid in Home Alone, he makes all those contraptions and stuff. So, like, when the burglars run through, I mean, I'm telling you, see? Holiday
Just named
classics.
to John Kramer.
And you just made me think about too in this was one of the Christmas movies that came to my mind too, but it was the one that you were talking about, Jake, to watch. Better Watch Out.
Yeah.
And they had that scene where they were talking about Home Alone, and I want to see if this really works and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. But the movie was great. I gotta admit, I
can't wait
heard
to see
about it. Yeah, man, you got to check it out
I'm
because
gonna watch it this week.
I heard about it, but I never watched it. And Jake was saying, yeah, you guys got to see this. And the best part of it was a great movie, and I won't spoil anything, but the best part about it is it starts off one way, in a certain way that you're thinking it's going to go. and it takes a left turn.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Okay.
wow, I did not
Nice.
see that coming.
I haven't had a lot of twists get me recently, and that was one of them. That was one where I did not see that coming at all. Totally
Yes.
blindsided. So
Great.
yeah,
Wow,
go into it
excited.
blind. Don't look up
Yes.
anything
Yeah.
about it. Just watch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Don't even
awesome.
read the synopsis for it, although that didn't give it away. But
Yeah.
just go in blind and just sit back with the popcorn, man. Because when it did that, I was just like, what? I was like, WTF? And for the second half of the movie, I just had this anger in me building up because of something that was happening, and I was like, this is a good movie because it's making me react that way. And it was very,
Okay.
very good. It's on Shudder, I believe. That's where
It's
I
on
saw it.
Prime as well. Prime Videos
Okay.
for free as well.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
on Prime.
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
very
it's on
good
Prime.
movie.
I have to watch it again. I haven't watched that movie since it came out, because that came out in what, 2018 something like
16.
16
16,
something like
yeah.
that? Yeah. I don't think I've seen it since because I know I watched, because that's the one with the babysitter and
Right.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know I've seen it. I just haven't seen it in years. I should watch it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, a very
but-
smart movie. I was just like, wow, that's
Nice.
and
Okay.
all the way up until the end too. I was just like,
Mhm.
my jaw was dropped, and then and I won't get any further. But I was
No,
just
no,
like,
no.
it took me on a roller coaster. I was like, good for you, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. I was so tempted right when I finished it. It was late at night too. I was so tempted to text you, Jake, be like, "Good job, buddy," but I was like, I didn't want to wake you up.
Like, thanks
What
for the
about, like-
recommendation, man.
What about like Puka? You ever see Puka? You guys ever?
Oh,
see
is that the thing on Hulu?
Puka?
Yeah. Well, they have
No.
like 10 of them now, but the first one was like a Christmas one. It's like it's a terrible like B-rated movie. It's
Oh,
like this like
gosh.
toy that gets manufactured as like a Christmas holiday
Oh,
toy,
no.
but it's like
Oh man.
possessed or something like that. What is the old school slide? The Silent Night, Deadly Night, or whatever? Deadly
I
Yes.
Night, Silent Night.
love that
Toy
movie.
maker or
Oh my
whatever.
God.
There's like 4 of them now. There's like a bunch
Yeah.
of them.
Right.
I wanted to. I was gonna look it up real quick. Because I was looking up just like popular Christmas horror movies. Dead End is listed as a horror movie. I don't know if that's a horror movie, but it's a great movie, or a Christmas horror movie, but it's a great movie. Dead End.
Dead End. I don't think I've seen that one.
That's the one with what is her name? The chick Craven. We talked about it in Nightmare on Elm Street. She was the teacher.
Lynn Shay.
Lynn Shay. There we go. I don't know why I
The
blanked.
Oh, okay.
godmother.
Yeah, it has
the
Lynn
godmother
Shay.
of horror.
I think the reason it's listed as a Christmas horror movie is because they're going to like for a Christmas holiday. It's a really great movie, like great.
Okay.
It's like it's one of those movies like you're like, what is going on? And then like once you like realize everything, you're
Right.
like, oh, this is
Nice.
great. I'm surprised none of you have seen that. That's
No.
yeah.
But if
it's,
Lynn Shay is in it, I'm definitely interested.
oh
'cause
yeah,
I
it has
love
it has
Lynn Shay.
it has a great cast. It has Lynn Shay. It has Ray Wise. It
Oh,
has
yeah. Ray Wise? Cool.
yeah. It's one of those psychological films.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
yeah.
it's
Well, you got my
It is-
attention now.
it is really good. Let me
Okay.
see. So they have it free on Amazon Prime,
Dude.
and
nice.
they
It's
have
on
it on.
Tubi.
Oh, they have it on Tubi.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there you go.
Tubi's pretty
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
It
so,
is.
Dead
yeah,
End.
Tubi is
Dang.
awesome, especially for
Yeah.
horror. But yeah,
Yes.
it's
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Like this is a movie. It came out in 2003. But it's a really great movie. Like
I got 2
I've
movies
yet,
to watch this week.
I have
now.
yet to meet anybody, and of course everyone's always different, but I have yet to meet anybody that's like that movie was terrible. Like every person I know that has seen it is like, that's a great movie.
Hey,
like-
Jake.
Nice.
Hey, Fate. That movie, that movie was terrible. So now you can say someone stole it to you. I just wanted to give you that.
You haven't even
That's my
seen it. It
Christmas
doesn't
gift to
count.
you. No, I know.
You have
It
to
looks
watch it.
horrible.
It looks hard. I've got
It
a
looks to
bad
be
feeling
deceiving.
about this.
No,
I look
I'm-
horrible until you get to know me, and then you're like,
No.
It's like,
I'm gonna watch it.
Nice.
I will watch that this week. So I'll add that to my list with better watch out for this.
It
week.
is. It's good.
Nice.
I think it's a great movie. It's it's
Hey.
it's one of those movies that makes you go, huh.
Okay. Speaking
Nice.
of movies that make you go, huh?
Mhm.
You guys have heard me talk about it, but for everyone who's watching, you've got to watch this movie. It's not Christmas, but you can make it a Christmas movie. It's called Bad Milo.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a Christmas gift no one wants to receive. If you see the movie, you're gonna know why. Trust me,
I like
Jake.
that.
As sick, bless your heart, brother. As sick as you've been, if you watch Bad Milo, you're gonna feel better because you could be that guy. All right, that's all I'm gonna
Yes.
say about that.
Yes.
So
That's too
Bad
funny.
Milo. You have to watch this movie, guys.
Another good one too that I had just seen for the first time last Christmas is a movie called Christmas Evil, and that's an
Oh.
old school one. That's like
Okay.
from 84, 85, 86, somewhere around there. It's from the early 80s, but it was really good. I
Okay.
couldn't believe it. I enjoyed it, and it does have a little bit of a psychological
Mhm.
vibe to it too. You know, you
Okay.
basically got this kid that goes through something, and when he grows up, and I don't want to give anything away, but
Hmm.
and the ending is bonkers as hell.
Okay.
But good. It's a good
All
movie.
right.
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Mhm.
Is Scream a Christmas movie?
Oh, I've seen this
mean-
debate
Oh
online.
Lord.
It depends how you define a Christmas movie. If you define a Christmas movie as being released at Christmas time, yes. If you define it as having a Christmas tree or content in the movie, no. That's how I
Oh,
check.
wow.
That's what I
'Cause-
put on it.
Because the biggest like Christmas debate I think I've ever seen is Die Hard.
I
You
was
know,
just
oh,
about to
yeah.
say that.
Like,
Die Hard's
everyone-
a huge
Yes.
debate.
All right, well, hold on.
Biggest
Now-
debate.
Now, I've got a couple of friends that have been talking about this the last couple of days, and they know
Yeah.
how I feel about Die Hard. So let me just ask you guys, Die Hard, is it a Christmas movie or not?
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna say
easily yes.
Yes.
Come on.
I
come
think
on,
it is.
Steven.
No,
Okay,
it is.
all
It
right,
is. I think
okay,
it is.
All right.
It
Don't
takes
be that
place
guy.
on Christmas.
It does literally.
It takes place on
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
How is that not a
Exactly.
Christmas movie?
Yeah, right. And, well, again,
Yeah.
it goes back to defining terms, right? Because when you tell someone it's a Christmas movie,
Mhm.
a lot of people generally think that means it's Christmas content. Like, oh, it's going to be about it's a Hallmark movie or some kind of Christmas
Right.
content. So
Right.
that's where people get upset. Is when I'm like, that's not a Christmas movie. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's on for Christmas time. Yes, and I think that's where the debate comes in. Like people's expectations they just define it differently. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and some people are just like, oh, Die Hard's an action movie. That's
Right.
not Christmas. It's like, look, it's a Christmas movie. And that's just all there is to say about
It
it.
is.
in
What
my
about
opinion.
Friday? It's Friday.
Oh, man.
Maybe. I could kind of. I've heard that debate too.
Yeah.
Do you think it is, Fate?
Yeah, I mean, you got the scenes. where
I
they're
think the
dressed
door
up.
is open.
Yeah, you
Door's
can
open.
make the argument.
Okay. All
You can
right.
make the argument. I can see the argument there. I mean, I mean, you got to look at it like there's different types of like I'm sure there's people that don't consider like Krampus and stuff like that like actual holiday Christmas movies. There's
Right.
holiday
Mhm.
cheer movies,
Right.
good
Right.
feel
Right.
miracle
It's
movies.
not something
Family.
they would watch on
Yeah.
Christmas. Yeah, I get what
Right.
you're saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
but then you had stuff like Jingle All the Way. What was it?
Jaws the Revenge is a
Jaws
Christmas
the
movie.
See, there you go.
Yes,
Oh,
it takes place
man.
on Christmas.
You know what, Jake? You got to do a video that just says, "Here are the Christmas movies that you didn't know about," and you just
Yeah.
throw those
You know,
out there. I'm
I'm gonna-
serious.
Friday.
I'm gonna throw my
Jaws,
list out
you
the
have Die
window.
Hard, you have-
Like my top 5 list is like Krampus and like Better Watch Out, like movies for like my top 5 Christmas horror movies. I'm gonna just completely get rid of those, and I'm gonna talk about like Die Hard and Jaws
Yeah.
the Revenge.
Do it.
Like
Yeah.
just all these super obscure movies that just
Yes.
happen to take place on Christmas.
Yes,
That'll
you
be the
should.
video that blows up too.
It
Oh my
will.
God,
I was
that'll
just
be the
thinking
video.
that.
That'll be the
No.
video that gets you like.
All you'll
You'll
be
have so
seeing
much
is
debate.
clickbait comments, clickbait.
Yeah.
Those are the
I hate, man, that's so annoying, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is that if someone really hates this video or a video,
Mhm.
the fact that they actually, first of all, they watch it, and then secondly, they actually comment on it. I'm like, dude, you're giving more effort than like 80% of the people that like the video do.
Right?
But most people don't even comment, and you're actually commenting on a video you hate. Thank you.
Yes.
It's like, really?
It's true, man.
I
It's
just don't
true.
get that, man.
It's true.
Clickbait. Okay. Well, I guess
Here's
it
a-
worked.
Here's another Christmas question too. Do you guys enjoy A Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the story.
Like Charlie Brown's
Okay.
Christmas
Well,
Carol.
Well,
You gotta
yeah.
gotta watch all the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You gotta watch Frosty the
Oh,
Snowman.
Rudolph.
You gotta
Man,
watch all those classics.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Frosty was on. I think it was not this past Saturday, but the one before. I think I can't remember. Anyways, it was on I had to sit down for about 15 minutes and watch it.
You gotta watch that.
I'm man enough to admit it. And seriously, as I'm watching it, my mind is just going back, to when I was a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
like there was cool shit like that on TV for kids
Mhm.
back
Yeah.
then.
Right.
It's I kind of miss that.
What
Even
did
I
Miracle
watched
on
that.
34th
I mean, like
Street?
I'm a
Yes.
younger guy. I even watched like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman.
Yes.
The Island of Misfit Toys is another really
Yeah.
good one.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I feel like every kid is familiar with those, which I think is
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
that's so cool. It's part of like mostly everyone's childhood.
Yes.
What about
It's true.
all of the other reindeer? Olive, remember the little dog that becomes the reindeer?
Oh, the other reindeer.
yes.
Oh,
all of
barely.
the other reindeer. It used to be a
Barely.
book.
Oh,
It used to be a
man.
book.
Oh,
And then
Yes.
they finally made it into like a cartoon. It is like the little spot dog
yeah.
that like
Oh,
becomes
man.
and he takes the place of Rudolph for a day.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I got it, guys. You ready for this? Hold on to your seats.
Okay.
Ernest Saves Christmas, baby.
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ernest Saves
Bring
Christmas.
that is a
Bring it back.
great Christmas movie.
It was.
Seriously.
Actually,
Oh,
it was.
It was
It
a good
was.
story.
He had a
Jake,
good run.
That's
He
one
did
I'm gonna
have
have
a
to
good
look up.
run. Jake, you've got to see it, dude. Seriously, man.
And Jake, I know you were talking about pacing yourself, so this is so backwards. But seriously, man, if you make a video like that,
He's gonna.
You got to
Yeah.
put Ernest in
Oh,
there,
I'm, so,
dude.
I'm doing it now.
I'll click on that so quick.
Yeah. Dude, I literally like I'm filming it today. I have the Santa Claus costume ready to go. Like
What
I only
about the
pull it
Santa-
out this time of year. It's covered
about
in
the
blood.
Santa
It's gonna
Claus?
be great.
Oh,
With Tim
my
Allen?
God. The Santa Claus?
Oh,
Yes.
that
Claus,
movie?
yeah.
There's
Okay.
like 3 of those, right?
Yes.
Yes. The first
Great.
two. The first two are the best ones, but
Yeah,
I
good.
absolutely love that movie, man.
Yeah, the original
mean-
one. I love the original one.
Yes.
That one's
Elf.
good.
Elf is another
Elf.
one. you
Elf's
got.
a great one.
Oh,
such
the
a
night
good show.
before.
The night before is
Yes.
really good. I like
That's
that
It
one.
is.
hilarious.
I forgot about
Yes.
that movie. Have you guys ever
yeah.
seen The Family Man with Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
No,
a really
no.
good movie. That's surprisingly a really good movie.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
it actually
definitely check
is.
that
It's
one
not
out.
bad. Yeah. There's a
Oh,
there's a
Bad
lot of
Santa.
great ones.
Oh, I
Bad
hate
Santa.
that. No.
You don't like Bad Santa?
That movie was horrible, dude. I'm sorry. I
That
could not-
movie was great.
Billy Bob.
I could
Billy
not.
Bob Thornton is my hero.
Dude.
I
Right.
live
I
my
think
life
it's just
by him.
something about Billy Bob. I just can't get into his movies, dude. I've tried. I just
yeah?
can't do it, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
what about Gremlins?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Gremlins.
For
Yeah.
sure.
That's a
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Now-
Gremlins is great.
Fate, you mentioned it earlier, and it was kind of like I think underneath everyone's conversation. I don't know how many of you heard it, but I picked up on it, and I want to get back to it. Jingle all the way, baby.
Yes.
That
yes.
movie was it. Like I think it's a classic in my
It
house.
is.
It's a
I
classic.
watch it every Christmas. I watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Arnold
so
was
good, dude.
Sinbad was so funny in that.
Wasn't he
Sinbad was
funny?
like- yeah.
God.
Gosh,
He-
and he was
he-
so
that's
great.
He just had
man.
so much energy, and he was just like pinging off the charts, and it was so funny with Arnold. And first of all, let me just say this, and people that watch me know I'm a huge Arnold fan, and as much as I love him in his action stuff, and I'll always love him in those things, he has great comedic timing. He is
does.
actually
Right.
really funny.
Oh yeah.
And Jingle All the Way, he was hilarious. Oh my
Agreed.
god.
And then
Great
you had the late help me out, Hart, the guy who's passed away. He was the neighbor.
Oh,
it's Tim-
Gary.
uh,
Oh my god.
I'm embarrassed. I forgot his name. It's from SNL.
Yeah.
You know the guy.
Phil Hart. Phil Hart.
Phil Hart. I knew it was
Yeah.
something Hart. Yeah.
Yeah.
The great Phil Hart playing that
Yes.
that neighbor. moving
Oh,
in
he
on
was
the
so
wife.
weaselly. He was
Dude,
so
I hated
weaselly.
him. But he did it so
right?
good. It's like it's one of those characters where you're like, he does it so well, you can't stand him. And that's what
Yes.
they want.
Yes.
You just see how he's conniving and weaseling in,
Yes.
and you're just wanting to strangle the guy, right? And
Yep.
it was so well done. It was a really,
Yep.
I think it's underrated, honestly. I
You-
think it's
you
a fun
even-
movie.
You even had for really the old school folks, you had the late great Robert Conrad, who was playing that
Yes.
security guy,
Yes.
Robert Conrad from the
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
Wild West.
It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
I loved that show as a kid. My dad
Yeah.
would be watching it, obviously it was syndication, but I'd just be sitting there pretending I had a gun and all that. I was like, man, so, yeah.
What about the Grinch with
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that
man,
movie.
I do. I like
Yeah.
it.
I remember
I like it.
when because I grew up in California, I was born and raised out there. When they were doing that movie, they turned Universal Studios lot into Whoville. It was really cool. Like you could
Oh,
walk around, see all that stuff.
wow.
It was really cool
That's
back
nice.
like a
Oh,
long
That's
time ago.
awesome.
But yeah, like you got to go with like the Grinch. Nightmare Before Christmas. Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Is
a
that
classic.
is that a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie though?
It's a Christmas movie. It's centered
Uh-oh.
around.
That's an argument. That's an
Uh-oh.
argument right there.
I mean, I guess it's both. You know,
Right. Like I think it's both, but dude, I've legit gotten into arguments with people over that. Like about if it's a Halloween movie, a Christmas movie. I feel like
Wow.
most people are like, no, it is a Christmas movie
Yeah.
to its core. And I'm like, no, it's
Yeah.
kind of both.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
the
true.
Polar Express. That was
Oh,
actually
yeah.
pretty good,
Yeah.
man.
That was a good movie.
I
The
was
movie creeps
really
me out a
impressed with
little
that.
bit.
Well,
I'm not
You mean
gonna
because
lie.
of the animation? Or?
Yes, the animation
Okay.
creeps me out a little bit,
Yeah,
but
it's
I like it. It's a good movie. It is
Yeah.
good.
The great
Has it-
Tom Hanks, man.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to say, has anybody mentioned? And if we have, then we'll move on. But maybe arguably the best Christmas movie of the '80s for sure. Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
I
about
mean,
to say
that
that
is
too.
that's
It's a
iconic.
great movie. I've
That's-
seen.
yes.
We watch it. My family has watched that every single year for Christmas,
Yes.
and
You
like
have
I've
to.
just seen it so many times. I'm like, okay, like yeah, Christmas
Yeah.
Vacation. It's a great movie. It's a great movie, but I've seen it too many times. I've kind of burnt out on it.
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
I feel like
fun-
this is exhausting.
a funny story I have to tell you when we think about it is because later on today, when we're filming this, my daughter has never seen it. And I'm going to watch it with her. It's going to be daddy-daughter time. And she's at an age now where it's more appropriate for her to see it. So we're going to and we're going to watch it. I'm introducing it to her for the first time today.
Nice.
So I'm very
That's
excited.
awesome.
I'm very excited to get her response. So
Very cool, man.
it's just a
Very,
classic,
very cool.
man.
It is a
Oh,
classic. Chevy Chase, man. He was so good. Like just the way he
Yes.
could be so deadpan.
Yes.
And it would like for that first second sometimes go over your head and then you catch it and you're like, oh my God, that was good. You know, he was just I loved his movies. I really did.
I like the way, especially in Christmas Vacation, where it's like he'll have those moments where it's like so slapstick funny, where he's like kind of beating himself up, but then he has these really like wholesome, like genuine moments where it's like he just really wants to do all these like wonderful things for his family, but it's just not working out. And like you really feel for the guy, man. I mean, it's
really do.
Chevy Chase always did a wonderful job at doing that in all of his movies.
That
Like,
that
for
attic
sure.
scene when he gets stuck in the attic.
Oh, I
Yes.
know.
And he pulls out the old school home movies, and you've got that Ray Charles song in the background. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. To this day, that gets me kind of a little misty eyed because I'm just like, because you really do connect with him, and through that you connect to your own life, you know, family and so forth. And yeah, man, that's the magic of that movie, and of course that character and the family. But yeah, good stuff, man.
Movies and like music and things can do. You know,
powerful, man.
Emotion and
yes,
it can make your day, it can ruin your day.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been walking someplace and heard a song that just like sparked all these like memories, or you know, you walk, you're flipping through the channels and you see a movie that like takes you back to, you know, like your first girlfriend sitting on the couch, or your first, you know, you're the first movie you saw in a theater or whatever. You know, it's like it's
that's an
amazing
excellent
how,
point.
Yeah, it's amazing how art really, in general, just really
It's true, man.
Can invoke all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah, it really can you can connect with it on so many levels. And I was just reading this article the other day. The Lord of the Rings is 20 years old.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, God, I'm getting old. But but the Return of the King. Well, first of all, I think Lord of the Rings, just in my own opinion, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. But whatever. But at the end of the Return of the King, you got all this emotion going on. You've been following these characters through these 3 movies, so forth, so forth. And then at the end, you've got, in my opinion, a wonderful, wonderful singer in Annie Lennox singing, I believe it's Into the West. And it's a beautiful song. It's an emotional song. And they're showing the credits and all the, the actors, but they've got these drawings. It looks like an old school, like you're reading Tolkien, and it's old school drawings of the actors. And it's kind of like moments throughout the whole trilogy, because some of these actors obviously didn't make it through the whole trilogy. And with her voice and the song and the words, I kid you not, man, that gets me every time. It really does. It's a beautiful song. Anyone that doesn't know, they should check it out.
You know,
Oh,
you want
man.
to, since we're on the subject of music, it's amazing that Mariah Carey has gotten bigger because of her Christmas music than anything else. I mean,
That's
think about
true.
it. I mean, seriously, she's still getting brand deals and endorsements
Yes,
off
that's
of
true.
All I Want for Christmas and stuff like that. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
It's crazy.
it is.
And there's still so many like memes and stuff about her. Like you still see all these jokes about, oh, this is the time of year where Mariah Carey comes out of her shell
Yeah.
to sing that one song.
That's
You
one
know what I
song,
mean?
man.
She got killed. What was it? It was like 2-3 years ago. She did that live show, and they
Oh,
told
that
her
was
to,
brutal.
they told her to do they told her not to do it live, but to do the recording, and she didn't want to. And
Yes.
and yeah, she ended up going on there and just
She
terrible.
should have done
I
the
mean,
recording.
She should have done the
Yes,
recording. I mean, it was one of the worst performances ever. She got killed for it.
I
And of
remember
course,
that.
and all the
That's-
PR. I mean, it was actually really sad, to see, like, because I mean that voice is just something. The closest thing to that is Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande's voice is just
She does have a good voice.
It's unbelievable. For as
She
tiny
does.
as she is, you'd never expect it. Like,
That is true too, man.
She is, like-
Yeah, she's a peanut.
because Mariah
Yeah.
Carey's at least she's like 5'10" or something like that, 5'9", something like that. So I mean, so she's belting that out. But I mean, it
Yeah.
is. I've always thought that's funny that, like, she's even to this day has all this success with her Christmas music.
And her
Oh, yeah.
voice, her voice is legendary, especially
Yeah.
back in her early career.
Yeah, 20
And-
years ago.
Yeah, and the things that she could do with her voice was just so fantastic. And obviously that song, it's a great song. It's a great Christmas song. The only person Ariana Grande is amazing, but the only other person that really makes me think a lot of that type of level, like a Mariah Carey level, is Adele. Like Adele is just, when I listen to her sing, especially some of my favorite songs of hers, I'm just like, wow, man, you got a great voice. I saw a performance that she did where she brought Celine Dion, who obviously legend.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
yeah.
brought Celine Dion, and they're just singing together. I'm just like, this is just not fair. The amount of talent between these two ladies. This is just amazing stuff. But
That's one
Yeah.
thing I've always wanted. I've always wanted a great singing voice, and I don't have that. I don't necessarily want it to be famous or anything like that, but like,
Right.
how cool would it be, like, if we were all just here and I just
Oh.
belted out this beautiful
Just
melody?
start ripping, right?
You know,
Just
just
like
don't-
riff.
Don't
Oh,
get me
yeah.
going, Fate.
Oh, man.
Man.
Get me
Oh,
going.
hey, you
Like,
know what? Night, I'll be there.
You don't want to hear me sing.
You
Well,
don't want
I
to hear
gotta
me
s-
sing either.
Oh, come on, Night.
Why
I
did the
know.
collective die?
Dude, yeah, the death of the collective. They made great videos till they started to sing. And, they
They're
stopped
just
talking and
singing in
started
every
singing.
video.
I'll get us all canceled.
Oh, hey, I have to say, well, on the subject of female singers, my favorite is, well, those are all really good. Night, those are great, but my favorite is Sia. I think Sia has got
Sia.
some chops, dude.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
does.
she's got a good voice.
She really
She can
does,
kill it, man. And it's
Yes.
funny because when I first heard her, the first song I ever heard from her was Chandelier on the radio one time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, this is just some manufactured, produced, auto-tuned person, like they
Right.
all are, cookie cutter. And then I said, you know what? I want to find out if this girl can really sing, because I have a really high standard of like vocalists I listen to. They really like, if you can't just hold a mic or even stand and just sing right in the room and be good, then I really don't like to listen to your music. If you have to be processed, I don't care about it. So
Mhm.
I pulled up a live video of her singing with just a piano.
Mhm.
Bro, I said, okay, I dropped the mic. And this, I had total respect. This, she's legit. Like, she legitimately can just walk in a room and just belt it, man, and be
Agreed.
really, really good. So she's the real deal. Like her, Christina Aguilera,
Christina Aguilera
these
was
are
incredible.
real deal singers, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Well, with Sia, like, the thing that I always thought was funny is that, like, she'd come out as like Cousin It. And like,
Yes,
it
one
just,
short
like,
piece.
it just be
Mhm.
belting out some song. You're just like, what?
No,
Right.
For like
she
the
just stands there and
longest
she
time.
doesn't move.
Yeah.
Fate, like she
Just
stands there
like,
and just like still and just ripping, dude, like just
Yeah.
shredding it, man.
Yeah.
Like dude, that's talent,
it's
bro.
It is
it's a
talent.
trip. Like,
Oh,
Yeah, I've always
man.
had a crush on Gwen Stefani, but maybe that's
Gwen
just
Stefani?
me. Yeah,
Ah.
Gwen Stefani's
like
great.
celebrity crush is
mean-
Gwen Stefani, like for sure. Like, man,
I wish she was still
make
doing
fun of me. I don't
music.
care.
No, man. I think
Yeah.
it's funny because I remember when No Doubt first
Yes.
came
Back in
out.
the 90s.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of digging this because they had a different type of
Mhm.
vibe, and she's rocking it out, and I'm like, nice, I like this. And when she went solo, I was worried, but not only did she show her talent, more of her talent, but her music evolved, and now she could do almost anything, and I really enjoyed that. I really do miss her music because
Yeah.
it was some good stuff. It was some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know who else has an amazing voice? Is Pink.
Pink
has a
does.
Pink has
Whatever
a-
happened
Oh,
to Pink?
man.
She's
Oh,
super
man.
underrated.
Right?
She had an
Yeah,
album. Like, she
disappeared.
had an album come out a couple years ago.
For real?
But she's
Really?
always done that. She's
Wow,
always had a
okay.
couple. And she even did like the entire soundtrack or half of the soundtrack for what was that the musical with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, The Greatest
Oh,
Showman.
Yeah, The Greatest Showman.
Ah.
Yeah.
She
Which,
did a
by the
bunch of-
way,
she did a-
is
that
an
was a great
amazing.
movie. That is a
Oh
great
my
movie.
God, man!
I'm not a fan of musicals at all. Like those
Right?
types
Yeah,
of
me- I'm
movies,
not
I'm not
either.
at all. But
Man.
that movie is a great movie.
I
Like,
kid you not.
I
when
remember the
s-
first time I was gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no, no. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the first time I ever I went to go I saw it. I didn't know it was a musical. I just kind of was sitting there
Oh
and
no.
and it starts going and I'm like, man, I'm really about to sit through this thing. And then I was just like, every night alive.
Yes.
Oh,
I just,
oh,
like, looked,
come
like,
on. You started to sing. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, you don't want that.
Come on, man.
We got to do a little bit where each of us goes 20 seconds with a song and just see
Yeah.
what happens.
We should
It's
do.
a
We
great-
should do.
we should.
Lethal karaoke.
Lethal karaoke. Yeah.
Karaoke
Oh.
night.
Here we go.
Lethal
The
to our
tagline.
viewers.
Yeah.
Check it out. Yeah, I was gonna say lethal karaoke. It will kill you. It will kill you to listen.
It'll
It'll
kill
kill you
you.
to listen.
We'll
But-
have a
but-
contest. If you can sit through the entire thing, you win,
Oh, we
You can
should.
sit through.
you win $10 or something.
But
Yeah.
Oh, God.
that movie is amazing though, man. And I knew it was a musical going in, and I'm okay with musicals. I mean, that's not my favorite thing, but there are a few that I've enjoyed over the years. But I watched it. I mean, obviously I'm a huge Hugh Jackman fan, but Zac Efron
Yeah.
and Zendaya, I was like, wow. Like that movie is amazing. I even got the soundtrack. That's how good the music
Oh,
was.
wow.
Yeah, the
And-
music was really good.
Yeah, and they're singing. It was great. A great movie.
Well, did you ever see that? It went like super viral. Was they had the table reading where they all were singing, and the girl, like the "This Is Me" girl or whatever, she was like belting it out, and literally everyone was crying. Like it's
I
actually
heard
it's an
about that.
amazing. It was super viral, like super.
Wow.
Viral. It went more viral than the movie.
Yeah.
And it was just like this incredible moment because it wasn't like recordings for the film. It was literally them in a room singing, and
Right.
everyone's getting into it, and you just feel the music, and everyone's crying.
Yeah.
Literally, Hugh Jackman couldn't sing because he like tore his vocal cords or whatever before, so he's
Mhm.
literally just standing there holding the girl's hand, and they
Wow.
explained, like, the producer was like, we just recorded everything, like this wasn't a planned moment. Like
Mhm.
it just but because we recorded everything, we were lucky to capture it. And
Yeah.
he was like Hugh Jackman couldn't sing; he was just listening to everyone do the thing.
Mhm.
But the girl was really nervous,
Yeah.
so she couldn't sing until like she had to like stare directly at Hugh Jackman, and so he was just holding her hand, like trying to get her through it. And once the music like took her over, that was it. And then boom,
Yeah.
it really was like this incredible moment, like of just like
Wow.
music and just passion. It was really
Love
cool.
it.
But yeah, it is.
Love it.
It is a really good movie. And the soundtrack's great. Hugh Jackman did Broadway. I didn't know all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did Broadway and
yeah.
all kinds of stuff. I
Mhm.
didn't know that until the movie came out. And then I
Yeah.
like looked into it. I was like, where did this voice come from? Usually
Right?
it's just usually him and Ryan Reynolds are just having a
Hamming it up.
Goofing off.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is so multi-talented. It's ridiculous how talented that dude is.
He
Like
is.
seriously, he can do everything. He really, really can.
Mhm.
But I love that story too, man, because I heard about it, and those are special moments,
It
man.
is.
When the art just takes you over and you see people's
Yeah.
reactions. I love stuff like that, man. I really do.
Mhm.
Hell,
Well,
man,
special.
I was just telling you, Steven, I was getting a little emotional when you were when we were talking about the Wes Craven tribute,
Oh
because
yeah, man.
you could hear the emotion, especially in David Arquette's voice. He's like,
Yes.
I might start crying. I'm thinking, David, I might start crying too, man. It's
Well, and
like,
did you notice the very last scene with Kevin Williamson had tears in his eyes when he was talking
yes,
about it? He's like, I was
yes,
really hoping that they would dedicate this movie to Wes. And he barely could even say it. He's like, and they did, but he was like,
yes,
you could tell
yes,
it was hard to get it to even say anything at that point. He
yes.
was so
Yep.
emotional.
Well, he said he was balling at the end of the movie. So
Wow.
I think that I'm curious to see what kind of tribute, because at the end of the movie they're going to have some sort of tribute or something.
They have
Oh,
to.
yeah.
They would have
And-
to,
Yeah.
man, right?
I'm
Like, you think they'll
curious
do
what
like a
that's
little
gonna be.
featurette? You think?
I-
Like, actually,
I
like
think so.
scenes?
I don't
mean,
know if I don't know if I ever knew that story that Kevin Williamson told during the featurette, where he's like Wes Craven had me come over to his house and to give me notes on my scripts, and he literally just said that there was a bunch of typos.
Yeah.
Like, that is so
Yes.
funny, and it's just like, he was such a
Yes.
wonderful guy. We lost him way too soon.
We
Well,
did,
Oh,
man.
man, so much.
God.
Well, like the thing that, so like I was even telling people, like, because even in the live stream and stuff, like people were saying, like, talking about Wes, because that was kind of the topic of the day, right?
Mhm.
And like I was telling people, like, because they were like, oh, Wes Hicks has to be Ghostface or this, and I was like, yeah, but isn't the Wes thing to do, like the Wes Craven thing to do, like, wouldn't it be to kill him in like the first like 10 minutes? Like,
Yes.
like, like, wouldn't that be like I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to do that, but I'm saying
Right.
like, because think about it, like, if Wes Craven was to make his own character in the movie, that's what's gonna happen. Like, he's gonna, it's that ton, and he's gonna make some dramatic, hilarious scene where you think, oh, he's gonna be the character forever, and they're just gonna kill him, and and Wes is gonna be laughing and cracking up, like, because that's just who he was as, like, a director. Like, that to me is like Wes would do. But I do think Wes Hicks is gonna have significance. I think he's either gonna be the final guy or not just that, but I really think, given him being one of the more known male actors in this film, it's very likely that either him or Jack are going to end up surviving and carrying on.
Right. You think so?
They're the two biggest, out of the two biggest names out of the male actors.
Yeah.
So you think that they have at least one of them sort of carry on.
Kyle Gallner's kind of made a reputation for himself. Just to give him some credit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
He's
they
been in a
all,
few
they
things
all
here and
have
there.
like they all have credentials backing them up, but like, it's just like anything, like like that was one of the big reasons they wanted Courtney, was because she had things under her belt. Like, Nev was still kind of wet behind the ears. David was completely wet behind the ears. I mean, he even said it himself in one of the featurettes. He was like, dude, I was some guy that just starting out, like, I didn't know what I was doing. So Courtney was the one that like had the name behind her. She
Bruce Springsteen videos.
Well, and there was a movie that, like, the year before Scream came out, that she was not the lead, but she was the like co-star or whatever in. Can't remember the name of it. It was I just remember there's like a ball scene or something like that where they're in like this dinner party or whatever. I can't. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but
well, here's an even deeper cut. Did you ever see her on that show, The Misfits of Science?
No.
No.
I've never even heard of that.
Bits of science. No.
Look at, okay, so this is a deep cut, old school time.
Yeah.
There was this TV show. I loved it. It was cheesy as hell. I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 85, 84. I don't even know what it was. But Courtney Cox was in the show. It was these, I think it basically was the X-Men. That's basically what it was. You had these 4 people that had powers. They were regular people and they had powers. And Courtney Cox, I think she was telekinesis, if I remember correctly. But anyways, crazy campy show, forgotten. But when she became famous, that's what I always thought about when I saw her. I was like, oh, Misfits of Science, that's awesome. So yeah, on YouTube, you can look it up and they show at least the opening. I used to love the opening of it too. It's a crazy ass song. But anyways.
Well, I was gonna say Friends, dude. Like, Friends, Friends was like 2-3 years old at this point. So like that's that's probably where she was probably the most famous from.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She really's had a great career.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
gotta give her a lot of credit, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome career.
Oh yeah.
It has. It's I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see where this goes after this installment. Because if
Yeah.
this is really is it for the OG3,
Mhm.
there's definitely gonna be an adjustment period, I think. You know what I mean? It's gonna be one of those, it's gonna be weird going to a Scream film and not having them a part of it. You know,
Yeah.
There's no way they're not gonna do another Scream film. Like, come on.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna do another Scream film, but I'm saying like the OG3 aren't gonna be a part of it, most likely. Because
I don't know.
No, that's what
man.
I'm saying. I'm like, dude, like, there's no way they're not like if they end up making like a Scream 6 and 7, like let's say Radio Silence makes this new trilogy, like I just cannot believe that they wouldn't have anything to do with those other movies.
I think so too, man. I think I think one's gonna die, right? Well, let's just say for argument's sake, we lose one. I hope we don't, but we lose one in 5. We've got 2 left. So, I mean, isn't it plausible? And the Faye, you may be right. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, isn't it plausible that in 6 we lose another one, and then in 7 maybe we lose Sydney at the last one, or
But I hope it's not.
I don't know.
That.
I hope not,
because you know what that's remind me of, and spoilers for Star Wars fans, but that's exactly what they did in the new trilogy. Now, obviously, part of that was unfortunately with Carrie Fisher actually passing away, but it was like kind of like every movie is like we're losing legacy characters.
Right?
Can't they just be happy and live on? Now, I'm not saying specifically that for the OG3. I do think someone's going to die in this movie, but I hope they don't just one by one die in each movie.
Right, predictable fashion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, look, Jamie Lee Curtis is still in Halloween, guys. That movie came out in '78. Okay, she is.
But she's been in fewer than she's been in.
But that doesn't mean she couldn't have been though. My point is that you're right. I mean, they went in different directions. We won't talk about Thorn, but we won't talk about the Thorn trilogy. But I'm just saying she's still beloved. I mean, people still love to see her. So Nev could be one of those where maybe she doesn't have a featured role, but I don't know. You could work her in.
I could see a camp. Here's the thing. I think Radio Silence will do whatever the actress and actor want to do. Like if Nev says like,
that's
hey,
true, man.
I want to be in all these films, then of course they're not going to say no. But I think it's in their best interest to move on. You're better off doing it sooner rather than later. Because here's the problem.
Right.
Like, say you get into a Scream 6, it's like now like people are gonna want like, why didn't you just keep her in the trilogy? Why like you're gonna do one more film, and if you do more films than that, it's like at this point you're better to just cut ties and once so you end the Sydney era, you go into the Sam era. I mean, and then after this trilogy, you could go into the next era. Say there's another character, Chad, not Chad Meeks, but it was just the first name that came in my head. But like, you got some guy Chad, and he passes, he gets the torch.
So Sam, we move away from Sam. You're saying, so Sam's trilogy is 3 movies, and then we go to some other person.
You could literally do these movies forever if you wanted to, because the beauty of it is just it's always somebody different. Like so. It's not like it's
the
not
killers
the same character. Yeah, you can always is in the story. It's just the story.
Scream is very malleable. I agree with you there, but like my problem with them doing that is like, what if we don't like these characters?
That's the risk.
That's the risk.
But you could have said the same thing about 96.
But that's what's so strong about that movie is like those characters are so good. Like Randy, Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers, like all across the board. Like we love those characters. We want to see more of them.
Yes.
And I think that's definitely something I'm worried about with the new film. Yeah. But I love the cast so much. Like every Scream film across the board, I think has an excellent like S tier cast. Even if sometimes I don't love all the characters, it's all like you always get a good cast for a Scream film. So
true.
I'm not super worried about that, but like if that does end up being the case, you can't make a trilogy of slasher films with characters that you just don't care for.
No,
then it takes the horror out of it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You won't know until you get to the film. Like I said, back in '96, no one knew until the film came out, and they did such a great job building those characters. And it helps that we had 4 other films to fall in love with these the main core 3. You know what I mean?
Well, and of course the original and we were just talking about this on Sunday, Stephen, when we were talking about OG3 and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that opening scene, it just
established it from the jump.
right from the I will never forget the first time I saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Drew Barrymore fan at that point. Well, I've always been a huge Drew Barrymore fan, but that opening scene, it grabbed you so tightly and yanked you that you had no other choice but to just go for the ride. And like you guys were saying, fortunately, you had Courtney Cox and Nev and
Yeah.
David and all Jamie Kennedy, all these guys, they just gelled so well. And as it's gone on, that power has only I sound like I'm talking about the dark side or something, but that power has only grown. So one thing we were talking about on Sunday on our live stream is this may be the biggest task ever in a horror franchise to successfully pass that baton.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like it's
Yes.
never really, as far as I know, it's never really been done successfully. I mean, like you said, Stephen, look at Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is still peppered throughout this series. We're still tied to Laurie Strode, be it for better or for worse, and it's like, can this franchise move on successfully?
Yeah,
I know
but
that's
then-
ultimately what they want to do, but can it be successful?
But to add to that, like we've never really had like what horror franchise had a proper passing the torch film?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
we've never
that's
really,
true too.
We
Yeah.
never really had like the Halloween thing. Like Jamie Lee Curtis just wasn't in the next movie. Like, it was,
Well,
there wasn't.
Nightmare on
wasn't
Elm
really,
Street
like,
3.
3, we did a little bit of that with Nancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
but
that kind of sucked, man, because I was
Yeah.
I
like,
know. I
but
hated
part of that is
that.
because Patricia Arquette didn't want to do 4. They want money,
Yeah.
and so then they had
It
to
was-
get Tuesday night. So that kind of screwed up everything for 4 right off the
Mhm.
bat. But
Yeah.
But I just
Yeah.
my biggest thing is that I just like we need to be fair though. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
that's the problem too. Like, that's honestly my biggest concern is that the audience being so attached to these past characters going into this film and not
Mhm.
really giving the new characters a fair chance. Because
Right.
none of these characters are going to be Sydney, none of them are going to be Dewey, none of them are going to
No.
be Gail. Because none of these
Mhm.
characters had 25 years of character development and building and us
Mhm.
growing and connecting. And I mean, in many
Right.
ways, they are a part of us. You know what I mean? Like we all like connect
Mhm.
to some degree. It's more than just a movie. It's
Yes.
it's
Yep.
art. It's overcoming your demons. It's overcoming your obstacles and facing down ghosts. Literally
Mhm.
like. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just like I just think that we all need to give this a fair shot and not just
Mm.
go in like immediately hating these characters. And that's really why I think they're trying to establish Sam from the jump, like before the movie starts anything. So you get a fair, so you go in knowing this is
Mhm.
Sydney's replacement,
Mhm.
and then you can properly make a fair assessment.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge is making these characters, at least the 3 or 4 you're planning on surviving.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, I mean, you don't have to be flawless with all of them, but at least the
Mhm.
ones that are replacing the legacy,
Yes.
like those have to be
Right.
like they really have to hit. And you
They have
to
to.
really
They have
Yeah.
to land, and if it's Sam or Tara, whoever the final person is, we think it's Sam. She's gonna have to be endearing, guys.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to watch her on film and be like, "Oh, I like her. Like I
Yeah.
like her
Yeah.
a lot."
Yeah. True.
And if they don't land on that, if we walk out of this saying she was okay,
Mhm.
that's gonna hurt, man. If
It
that's
will.
the best we come out
but
with.
that's my fear regardless.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it happens. It's just like everyone has a favorite girlfriend, everyone has a favorite dog, everyone has a favorite food. You know what I mean? And like,
Mhm.
you have a favorite burger place. No burger is going to be as good as that burger. So you immediately are like,
Mhm.
this is okay, and it could be fantastic, but because it's
Right.
not the thing that you love or the
Mhm.
memory you have. You
Mhm.
got to remember, a lot of us,
This is
that was our
tough.
childhood, that was us
Yeah.
growing up, that
That's
was our.
true.
So it's like when you think back, it's like the new school versus old school. Like
Mhm.
everyone does it. Like, no, back in this day, this was way better than it is now. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just because
Mhm.
it might not even be the case. It likely isn't the case because
Mhm.
of technology.
It's just
and
how you
advancements.
remember it.
It's just
It's how you
how you
remember it.
exactly. It's how
Yeah.
you remember it.
Well,
And
I mean,
that's my concern with this film is
Yeah.
Sam could be
Right.
the one of the best final girls ever,
Mhm.
and
Right.
she'll still just be okay because
Well, that's
we
what
have-
Knight was talking about. That was whole Knight's thing on Sunday was that,
Yeah.
and that's what makes this so difficult. Because I mean, to your point, Fate, like for me, for example, when I saw Scream in the theaters, I was a 22-year-old kid. Okay. And I am now like pushing 50 years old. That is my entire adulthood has been around, not around just this one person, but you know what I'm saying? I've lived my adult life with Sydney's been, and Scream has been such an integral part ever since I walked out of that theater in January of 97. And so it's not fair for me to expect Sam, if let's just say, to be Sydney, because you will never, like you said, no one will ever be Sydney. But I am going to be objective in terms of saying I'm going to give her a fair chance to win me over. Not to win me over as far as replacing Sydney, but to win me over to say she's going to be good.
She's worthy of being
worthy of this role. Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. If she can do that, then I think we're going to be fine, guys. But
well, if they have any type of success like they did in Ready or Not with Samara Weaving's character, then we're in for a treat, because I'll tell you what, man, right off the jump, and not just because I like Samara Weaving, I think she's a great actress, but just the character just worked for me. You know what I'm saying? And I was already thinking in my head, where is she in that final girl list? And she was already like moving up just from one movie as I'm watching it, you know.
And she's so easy to relate to. She's so funny. The dialogue in that movie is incredibly well written.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is. I need to rewatch that movie again.
If Radio Silence could do the same thing with the characters in the new Scream, I mean, this is going to be a success. I have no worries about the performances across the board. I love just about every actor or actress in this film. For the most part, I've seen almost all of them in something else where I really like them in it.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega in The Babysitter 2. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah,
she's wonderful in that.
She was great in that. Yeah.
Have not. No.
She's playing kind of like the completely different character than her character in Babysitter 2. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what she does here. Jack Quaid in The Boys. I don't know if you guys have watched that either.
Of course.
Love that.
He's great in that.
Jack Quaid really won me over in that, Jake. He was good.
Yeah, I love that show.
Just look at the opening scene with Jenna Ortega. I mean, she's acting her ass off.
She is, man.
Let's be real. I mean, she is. Yes. She's doing a job.
She is. It's not easy. It's not easy to scream and look like you're scared shitless.
And you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she's crying, like when she got the phone. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" You know, I mean, that was a terrible rendition. But you know what I'm talking about. But it was it's very convicting.
You know what's funny though too is that like there's always been hints that was going to be the opening scene, because even a year ago, Jenna Ortega was on the Drew Barrymore show and said, "I spent days and months just watching your film," and that was even a topic of a conversation back then. Like we were like, "That's strange. Why would she do that? Is she the opening scene?" And then fast forward a year later, and she is. It's like
that scene where she's playing with the knife while she's kind of leaning over the counter. I was like, "Oh wow, man."
Hey, can I throw something in about this for a second? So it just made me think about it. But you said opening kill, because Jake and I think all of us on the collective last time, we talked about how we had that scene from Mindy that looked like she's in a hospital bed. Yeah. Well, if you guys have seen one of the more recent ones, this is one of the ones I'm going to talk about.
It's in the house.
She's in the house. It's not a hospital. She's on the couch, which now takes us back to our original thought of, are we back to Jenna Ortega surviving? So I'm back on. I never really fully left the train, but I'm firmly in the train again that she does survive, that she's not going to die in the opening attack, that is her in the wheelchair. I'm sticking with that. So do you guys agree with that, or do you guys feel differently?
At this point, I think it would almost be cooler for them to just kill her in the opening scene. Because like
Jake,
we're I mean, the whole Scream fandom is now like, we know that that's going to be the opening kill, right? And we're like, people are studying the trailer trying to find out who's in the wheelchair. Like, does she survive? We never really get a clear shot one way or the other. Yeah. I just think it would be so much cooler now for us fans who have been overthinking this for months to just go into that movie and have Jenna Ortega get killed after the first 11 minutes. Like, and then title card, boom. It's like, wait, what? Like,
and the air in the balloon just gets drawn out.
Who's in the wheelchair? And then we find out that wheelchair scene's never in the movie.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
it happens.
It happens. Yes. Scream 4 had a couple scenes that just
oh my God, man. Scream 4 had so much misdirection. It wasn't even funny, man. It had scenes that weren't even, there were still shots of Scream 4 that were not even in the movie. I was like, oh, wow.
So I had an interesting discussion in my live. We were talking, somebody asked me, would I feel different about the movie? Like, would it ruin the movie completely for me if I knew exactly who the killers were.
Mm.
And I said no, not for this film. I said 96, yes, but I said not for this film because I think it's more about the execution rather than the complete whodunit aspect. Because my example was like, I was like, look at 96. Billy was the most obvious Ghostface ever. I mean, from the
Yes.
moment he came on screen, you
Mhm.
knew he was Ghostface. But that entire film, you questioned it 5 or 6 times. Like
Yep.
that,
Mhm.
the first time you watched that film, you were like, "Oh, killer." I mean, Randy point blank tells you
Yes.
he's the killer.
Mhm.
Yes.
And you still, and they did such a great job. And that was my point. I was like, and I expect a lot of that in this film. I was like, we
Mhm.
might already know the killers for all, we might have already guessed the killers. I mean, the consensus
Mhm.
going off of the trailers and stuff like that, it's pretty much narrowed down to 3 people, really.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that those 3 are actually going to be the killers. It's just that, like, even if they are the killers, then I just think it's all about the execution. Like, as
Yes.
long as the roller coaster ride of the film is well enough done, then I think all that
Mhm.
stuff, even the opening scene, like or scenes just in general, like as long as the execution's right, like I
Yeah.
just don't think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because like how creative and original can they really be? Like how many new things
I don't
that
know,
we've
man.
never seen before
I mean,
could happen.
Dude, have you seen Knives Out?
maybe I'm being an optimist. I mean, I don't
like
know. I
that's
don't-
a really good murder mystery, and
No,
like,
but I'm
that's
saying, like,
Yes.
decent, you know.
There could be I'm not saying that there won't be anything in general, but I'm saying out of the overall movie, there most of the scenes I don't think are gonna completely shock us. I think the main twist might, the main, like, the
I hope
conclusion.
so.
The conclusion, I think, is gonna be like, wow, that was incredible.
Yeah.
But the general film itself is, I mean, how many twists and turns and just genuine shock moments are we really
Mhm.
going to have? Like, I'm not talking
Right.
about the misdirection where we think, oh,
Right.
are they the killer? Is that the killer? I mean, that's just a Scream movie. But
Right.
I hope
the
that there's more than just the twist elements that are shocking to us. Like, I want to
Yeah.
see Ghostface murder someone in the most brutal way we have ever seen Ghostface kill another person.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not shock. Like, to
Yeah,
me,
it
like,
is.
that's not,
Sure,
to
it
me,
is. For this
it's-
series, it is.
To me, it's not shock in the sense of like something new. Like, we've all seen a completely brutal kill. We've all
We
seen
have,
it-
but not in the
a-
Scream franchise.
Yes.
Like, if Michael Myers goes out there and starts like stomping on heads, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We've seen that. But Ghostface, who could be anybody, mind you, like could be one of
Right.
like a teenage
Mhm.
girl, for example, stabbing and killing someone to death. Like, okay, we saw that a little bit in Scream 4. But have we
Beheading
ever
someone.
seen? Have we ever seen like Ghostface behead somebody? Have we ever seen Ghostface
Well,
cut
I mean,
somebody
the
in half?
flamethrower
The
thing is a great
flamethrower.
example. Flamethrower is super cool, super awesome. But that's not like even if we saw it in the film, it would have been like, whoa, like that's cool. But that's not like so surprising. Yeah, what I mean,
I still
is
think
that,
that's stab footage, bro.
I
don't
think it
that's
is.
in the
I think it
movie.
is too. But I'm just. I
Mhm.
think it's a great example for like what the conversation is. Like it. Like
Right.
even if that was in the actual film, like
Mhm.
yeah, that's like wow, that's cool, that's new, like that's shocking in the sense of like the kill was like over the top, but
Right.
but it's not something that we're gonna be like, I can't believe, I have never thought in a million years they would do so. It's not something that's just
Yeah.
like gonna.
Okay,
it's not
so
gonna
let me
blow
ask
us
you,
away.
Fate. I'm gonna
Is what I
turn the
mean.
coin, Fate.
Yeah.
I'll flip it. So give us an example of what would be that for you. What would be an example of where you see something you're like, oh my gosh, like we're having this conversation where you couldn't believe it was shot. Like, what would that be for you? What would it need to be?
I don't know. I'd really have to think of something like that because I mean it's hard. I mean, just think of all the movies, all of the things that
Yeah.
can be done. Like,
True.
I mean, the problem is that like chances are there's always something else out there that we've seen that like the only thing you can really do is just add your own sort of little nuance
Flair.
to it. Yeah, your own
Right.
little flair. Like so, but I think to me it's more about the execution. Like
Yeah.
I don't really care. I don't really need to be like, oh my god, shocked. Like I can't believe that this happened and running out of the movie theater because I'm so amazed. Like no, I just
It'd be
need-
cool though.
Yeah, right.
It'd be cool though.
I just need the scenes to hit home. I
Yeah.
need
But
the
you know,
scenes
I
to-
think with these guys working on this, I mean, I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but I would think that would be one of the things that they'd aim for, though. Is to make people, because they understand the fans. They understand they understand that right now we're talking about this thing and we're going to keep talking
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I would think that they're going to try to aim for those types of things. Now, whether or not they hit those marks, that's a whole nother story. It is more about execution, but I'm hoping that there are multiple times in this movie, like, well, I don't know if you guys have seen like Malignant or things like that, where my jaw just goes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
100%.
And if they can do that, the ending, the reveal has to be one of those moments.
Has to be.
I think that'll be the big I think the oh my god, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
That'll be the end.
So that's
these
one
little moments. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so that's one. If they can give me at least two others in the movie, wherever, middle and wherever else, if they can give me at least three, wow, what an accomplishment for a fifth movie in a franchise that's 30 years old.
I already see things that could happen in this movie that I know I will be shocked by, even though I've kind of seen parts of it in the trailer already. Like one of the biggest things that I'm really excited for is like Judy Hicks. Like, what is going on with her in her car? Why is she screaming? Where is she going? We saw that trailer. We saw that thing in the new TV spot where she's running into her own house.
Yep.
And she's going after what I'm assuming is probably Wes, who's being attacked by Ghostface. Now, if we get a scene where Ghostface murders a mom and her son at the same time while one or the other watches the other one get murdered,
man.
That's going to shock me. And that's going to be
brutal.
pretty damn dark.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm all about, personally. Like, as messed up as that is, I would love to see something like that in the Scream franchise. You know why? Because we've never really seen anything. We've never really seen it get that dark or brutal before. So if they did happen to do that, that would be a jaw-dropping shock for me. Just because of the franchise it's in. A lot of people will say that because this is the fifth film of the franchise, there's not so much originality. There's not a whole, but what else new can you do in this franchise? I would argue that there's a lot you can do with the Scream franchise.
In the franchise itself, yes, I agree with you 100%.
Because they just haven't done anything they haven't touched on anything that dark before.
Yeah.
Look at Halloween Kills, man. I mean, that scene when Michael got surrounded by the whole goddamn world, and I was like, God, that makes.
I love that scene, bro.
Now I'm upset.
But here's the thing. No.
Terrible.
Well, hold on now. Hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on. Let me walk you through it. First of all, before that scene, he's unmasked and he's walking, down the street to, because Judy Greer is baiting him out. We didn't know that at the time, right?
Yes.
And good God, James Jude Courtney, shout out to James Jude Courtney, because he's walking down the street. The lighting is perfect because you see Michael and you kind of see his face, but you don't really see his face, the shape. And he's walking like Michael, even without the mask. He bends down to get the mask. Cool little moment. He puts it on, and then all of a sudden the lights come on, and I'm like, you know what? It's about time, because it's not like Michael's running from people. It's like it makes sense to finally have people like corner him. You're right. So I was thinking, wow, this is something else. And then I'm like, well, he's just gonna kill everyone. He got his ass whooped. That's what he did. And of course, he came back. But I'm just saying that was something that was really cool in a Halloween movie. And Halloween, 50 years old, so
that's right.
You may not always
drove me crazy.
You why?
I love that scene.
I would have rather Michael just decimate everybody, because the thing is, it became this unrealistic, just silly moment. Like, what was the point? All these people had guns, all this stuff, and not one person put a bullet in his head.
It wouldn't have mattered.
One person in this town knows. Yes, okay, even if he survived it. The point is, why wouldn't they do that? He went there. I would have much rather him go get set up and just tear these people a new asshole. But no, that didn't happen. They got into the fight. They mollywopped this dude, and then they just cheered and laughed. And then Michael became this superhuman. Like, they all couldn't have just mollywopped them again with their guns or their sword.
But remember, Loomis shot him 6 times.
I've ever seen in my life. Yes, but at least he shot him. Like, there's literally people with shotguns and a musket and an iron. And and I'm just like. There's not one that entire movie. I'm sitting there and all these people have gats, and I'm just like, not one person knows how to fire a gun. They're all just standing there.
The end result would have been the same fate. It would have not mattered.
That's fine. At least it would have been a accurate thing, and he became this superhuman evil entity, which in and of itself, I didn't like how they did that, because he's always been this sort of superhuman. But it was never
supernatural.
it was never specifically touched on, at least in the classic. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, you know, you had the later films, but
Yeah.
the original, it was for us to take in and perceive it that way. You know,
I think the
why was
most
he this big?
misunderstood thing about this new franchise of Halloween films is people
Mhm.
are completely forgetting that the Halloween movies have been silly for a long time, like since the
Yes.
beginning. People
Yeah,
don't
that's
understand, like
true.
people just completely miss the point. They're like, well,
Mhm.
these movies are way too silly compared to the original. And I'm like, dude, did we watch the same movie? Dr. Loomis is over here screaming about how this guy has the blackest eyes, the devil's
the
eyes.
devil's
Like,
eyes,
dude,
right.
Dr.
yes.
Loomis is completely
Mhm.
insane. And
Yes.
he's
Yeah, he is.
hilarious the whole time. Donald Pleasance gives an
Oh, yeah.
amazing performance in that original film, especially.
Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
these films have been silly for like as long as they have been around. And like,
Yes.
you're telling me your biggest problem with this film is that it has like some kind of silly moment where the townsfolk
No, it was just
are
the
kicking
whole
around.
movie in general. It was the whole movie in
Bro,
general. I
like
mean,
that's Halloween, dog.
the
They
entire-
just took it to the nth level. Like they took that whole, the tone, the silliness, the gore, the kills. They took all of that and they just kind of like mushed it together and expanded it, bro. Like that's my thing about Halloween Kills, dog. I don't know.
But
I
look,
love
here's
it.
the
I think
other
it's great.
thing too, man, because I went through each. I mean, I love the franchise anyways. I know
Yeah.
the franchise, and we went through each one like every week. So we were watching them pretty much in succession. And when you really see the whole thing that close, it's like, man, we had some rough moments in this franchise. Now,
Oh, man.
some people like
yeah, but this
some of
isn't
those
being
ones.
compared to those. This isn't.
No,
This
no, no,
isn't a
no.
sequel to Part 5. This
Right.
is
No.
you
But what I
know?
mean is like with this new trilogy, first of all, and we know it's a new trilogy. Now, some fans may not
Yeah.
look at it that way, and that's fine too. But for me, ultimately, I'm going to think about this as a part of 3 movies. And I think when we see Halloween Ends, I don't know how good it's going to be. I think it's going to be good because it seems to me that David Gordon Green, the whole team, they give a shit. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like
Yes.
Yep.
Michael Myers hasn't had a good mask in so long. I mean, Rob Zombie's was pretty good, but the H2 was horrendous, the bum look and all that. But I mean, even the little details that they get right and that they try. So for me, I have hope for Halloween Ends, and I think once we see that, that'll strengthen Halloween Kills for people that maybe weren't big into it. But regardless of where you end on the spectrum,
Mhm.
this is leagues of, I mean, and again, it's just my opinion, but these 2 movies, 2018 and Halloween Kills, is leagues above so many of the sequels. And I like most of the sequels, you know what I'm saying? But I think what they were trying to do is they said, we're going to take the essence of 78 and we're gonna roll with it and go in this particular direction or whatever. I dig it, man. Like I've watched
Me
Halloween
too.
Kills probably about 7 times, and I just
Yeah.
watched the extended cut, and it's like
Oh, I
I
haven't
love
seen
it,
that.
man. It's
Dude. What,
Yes,
oh,
it's
really?
good.
I'm waiting for the
Oh.
physical thing to
good.
come out because I really
Okay.
want to watch that, but I've had a bunch of people tell me it's like in super low quality and stuff on Peacock or whatever. Like
Mm,
that's where you can get it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
or you can right. Yep.
you can buy it digitally though.
Mhm.
I'm saying okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll check that out. But
My
I'm dying to see that ending, man. I'm dying to
Look,
see what they.
I enjoyed 18, and I'll probably enjoy Ends. But
Mhm.
Halloween Kills, like, it didn't need to be a movie. Like in actuality,
Aw.
no, seriously, in actuality, there was the movie was what, an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. There
Yeah.
was probably 45 minutes to maybe 50 minutes of actual film. And then the rest was just an over drawn out, already been established manhunt. I mean, they dwelled on that for like 30 minutes of just around the town and him.
Mhm.
You established it in the first. We got it. Okay, that scene directly after where you went and you corralled everybody. We got it. And then you're going around and you're doing all this stuff, and Michael's in a completely different area. All this, it just, and then we get to the hospital scene, and it's another 20 minutes of them chasing this poor guy through the hospital scene, which I understand is supposed to draw the emotion. It's supposed to get that stuff, but it was just too. You could have cut out. You honestly could have cut out probably an hour of that movie. So I would have much rather them
An
just
hour?
yeah, at least.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'd say 15 minutes, maybe some of that. The hospital scene
They
got
did
long.
the same flashback scene twice. Like literally,
Dude, that flashback, bro.
it was great.
Man,
I'm
that
not
was
saying it wasn't
masterful.
bad, but they literally like you could have just done
Yeah.
the one flashback scene. You could have established what the town was doing in
Mhm.
the first 3 minutes. You could have had the
Mhm.
story and the dialogue with Jamie, establishing that he's this, new creature, and you would have been fine. You could have literally taken the 45 to 50 minutes. Let's just call it an hour. Let's be fair. Say an hour. You could have taken 30 minutes and put it into both films, to split up the hour, 30
Mhm.
minutes into 18, 30 minutes into end, and it would have been flawless.
That would have
You
been
would've
just
had-
another. That
you
would
would've
have
had
been
a
just another Halloween movie, though. This was something different. I
Right.
think. On top
Well,
of it being kind of an overture
But
of
it
the
was
entire
terrible.
franchise, I disagree, man. I like.
Man.
I think it kind of took parts from all of the other movies, like just like Halloween
Yeah.
2018 does, and kind of
Yeah.
like staples it all together into this like new narrative. And
Mhm.
what Halloween Kills does is it takes like tonally parts of like maybe the Thorn trilogy, part of like 2, even 3, and you mix all of that into this movie. It's
Mhm.
not like, yeah, maybe it's not the most linear movie or something so similar to some of the other films in this franchise. But what I think is so wonderful about it is that you see the town of Haddonfield finally respond to
Yes!
Michael Myers
That's
running
what I'm
around killing
saying.
people.
They've
It
known
had
it. Listen,
it had
listen,
They've
its
listen.
known
moments.
about this
They-
for 40 effing years,
That's
and they're
what I'm saying.
just now doing
Look,
something about it.
and
It
it's
had
it's
its
funny
And it's cool
too.
to see that fleshed out. Sorry,
But
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I think that to me, and whether or not it landed for people, that's a different story. But at least it tried to make a little bit of sense of that, because this is a guy that's well known. He's killed a handful of people or whatever. He's the boogeyman, he's the ghost, he's the legend, and all that. And just to see the town actually do something, like
Instead of hiding,
instead of hiding, and instead of everyone's like, oh shit, where's he at? I don't.
They did something
and,
different, and I appreciate that.
And
That's the biggest point.
I
that
don't.
want
I
to
don't have a problem with that. My problem is it was too drawn. They could have, like I said, they could have done all that in these 2 films. Like, yeah, it would have been another but it would have been so much better. The problem was it was just so drawn out. There was no real continuity to the story. It was all over the place. There are literal
That
scenes.
wasn't the point, though.
There are literal, yeah, but it's still a movie.
But I think
it's
part
still
of
a film that you need to go and be able to sit through. Like, yes,
Right.
there were moments that really hit. There were excellent moments. There were moments that were fantastic. But
Mhm.
in the grand scheme of the film, it wasn't a good film. It was great for what it was, but it wasn't a good film.
You're getting 3 thumbs down,
Bro,
man.
I
I'm just
disagree.
joking.
I
doesn't
love
matter.
But let me say one thing though about the flashbacks. Like the flashbacks, because I've heard some other people say that, it was nice, it was, cool to see it, but it wasn't really, whatever to the story. But to me, it strengthened oh my god, the sheriff's character
Absolutely.
a lot more. And now when I watch 2018, and I love this character in that anyways, because I love that actor. I can't Will Patton, right? I think his name. Anyways, I loved him in 2018 anyways, but now his character has even more weight to him, and hopefully I'm assuming in ends it'll have more weight. So it's like you were able to do 2 things at once. You were able to give these, these OG people like us that love the original a chance to see, well, what happened after, Michael, got shot or whatever. How did he get apprehended? And so that was it was cute, but it also put weight on him as a character. So now you understand why he was so, like in 2018, he was like, yeah, he's gotta die, and I gotta do it, and this and that. It's like, all right, well, you're not the only one that wants Michael dead, but now you understand why, because he freaking killed his friend, his partner, because he was a rookie, and so forth and so forth. So I will say this: the hospital scene, to me, anyways, that was one place where you definitely could have shaved off some
You could
time.
have.
I know they were going for this whole thing of the mob mentality, and it is what it is. I think they could have shaved. I think, like you said, Steven, they probably could have shaved 15 minutes off of that. Maybe they could have given Jamie Lee Curtis, a little bit. I think originally
she was hardly in the movie.
Right. I think originally her arc was going to be a little bit different. They did do some tweaking to it, but I would have rather seen a little bit more of her, doing whatever, because it's Jamie Lee Curtis. But I could see about 15 minutes, especially the mob hospital scene being shaved up. But this is a good movie. It's definitely not a bad movie.
No, it's really
because I've
good.
seen bad Halloween movies.
Oh
and
god,
And it's not all the way. It's not Resurrection.
Busta Rhymes,
but
baby.
It's not Resurrection, but it wasn't like I mean, it was exactly what you expected to be. I mean, it's called Halloween Kills. You knew what it was
Right.
going to be. You
Yep.
knew what it
Yeah.
was going into it.
Yeah.
That's not my problem. My problem was just I just felt like you could have like this was to me more of a cash grab than just telling.
No.
It
No,
is
I'm
because
sorry.
they didn't need to make the, they did like I said they could have. It was an hour and 45 minutes. They really had an hour of a film. If they really wanted to tell a foolproof, just packed in, wonderful story, start to finish, they could have just done 18 and Halloween Ends. There was no reason for this film. There wasn't
Halloween
other than fan service and to make money. That's why they did it, because they knew people were going to go see this film. You're telling me.
Come on, Jay.
Me, hang on, and I want an honest answer. Telling me if they would have taken. Say, like I said, say they cut out 15 minutes, right? So that makes it an hour and 30 minutes. Let's just call it an hour and 20 minutes. And they took, and they split that in half and they put it in Halloween 18, Halloween Ends, and it was perfect. You told the same story. It hit all the key points that were important, that were significant, and telling this fluid story. You had the 18, you had the ends, boom, start, finish, beautiful, wonderful masterpiece. It was all in one. You're telling me you would have been like, man, I really wish they would have dragged that out in another movie. No, it would have been another.
No, but you know what I would
have.
What I appreciate so much about Halloween Kills existing. Like let's say they did that. Let's say they made Halloween 2018. They made another movie where they just kind of wrapped it up of what happened to Michael on that night. Laurie kills Michael. Hooray! Yeah, awesome. Another movie where that happens. I appreciate and love Halloween Kills. I might even like it more than Halloween 2018, just because it's not the same damn movie over and over again. You could argue that Halloween 4, like symmetrically, that is the exact same movie as 78. I like Halloween 4. I really enjoy it. But the thing that movie has no integrity whatsoever. I mean, it is almost play by play the exact same movie as the 1978 film. Yeah. What I like so much about Halloween Kills is that it strays so much from the formula that it's entirely its own entity. I think that it delves more into like the psychology of the townsfolk of Haddonfield so much more than like any of the other Halloween movies. And on top of that, you get Michael Myers going around killing people. It might not make a lot of sense what his motive is, or like what he's even trying to do. He's walking a beeline to his house. That's all we really know about it.
Like, I mean,
no, I don't think a lot of these other things are super important for this film either. If you go into this expecting another Halloween movie where we get a nice cut clean storyline where it's Michael Myers, he kills some people, Laurie Strode takes them down at the end, you're going to be disappointed with Halloween Kills.
Yeah, but you're still going to get that. You're still going to get that in Halloween Ends.
Look, you don't get that in Halloween Kills. You don't. You don't. This is a Michael and the Townsfolk movie. That is what this movie set out to do, and it accomplishes is that.
And it also, the other thing about it too is a lot of what it was trying to say too is that evil can infect you. You know what I'm saying? Like you think.
Oh my God, yes, and I love that so much. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But you think that. Okay, you're doing the right thing by, evil dies tonight. I know people hate it, hearing it all the time, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, it was showing that this can really just take you to a place that you don't want to go. And that's what happened with Tommy. I know he could be a little annoying a little bit. I think that's the way he was meant to be, though, to just show that person that's all the way on the edge. But again, that's what I was taking from it, because all of a sudden you've got him, you've got the townsfolk, you even have Karen, who in 2018 was all like, Mom, let go of the boogeyman, we're beyond that. It's, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that bad, all that type of stuff. All of a sudden now in the second half of Halloween Kills, she starts to get quote unquote infected. Yeah. And ultimately, well, we know what happened at the end. So to me, that was something that it was, to me, a smart way to do multiple things. As you also said too, is showing this town and their reaction to it, and in somewhat of a realistic way. I mean, granted, you got whatever it was, 20 people versus Michael. Yeah, somebody should have just shot him in the head. But geez, man, in all horror movies, people should have either shot him in the head or chopped their head off or run left when they should have ran right and whatever. So for me, that part of it, I don't worry about. That's movie logic. You know what I'm saying? But this movie, I think what was so good about it, it was really showing how this event, this boogeyman, this tragedy just trickled down over 40 years, and then what happens because of that, so
Mhm.
Did you guys? I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the? Did you guys like that Laurie is the one obsessed? Like because in reality, Michael probably doesn't even know Laurie exists.
right.
Yeah,
Michael doesn't even
Yeah.
care. Do you like that aspect or do you not?
love it.
Yeah, I
What
did
you said
too.
Yeah.
was genius.
Well, because I think it also plays to us as the fans too, because we've gone through so much with the original. There was no relation. Part two, they're related, and then
Mhm.
obviously through the rest of the movies, this and that. But fans, or at least for me, yeah, it was always Michael and Laurie, Michael and Laurie, Michael and Laurie. Even when Laurie wasn't in the other movies that she wasn't in, but I thought it was cool to flip it all of a sudden, that
Mhm.
Jamie Lee Curtis is now kind of like me
She's
as a fan. She's like, yeah, I know he's coming for me. And she even got her daughter thinking that, yeah, he's coming for my mom. He's coming for my mom. And then all of a sudden it's like, nope, he's not. You just
Yeah.
happen to be at the
He's-
wrong place
Mhm.
at the wrong time.
That's
Yes,
right.
and that's another thing that I like so much about Halloween Kills. I feel like if this franchise didn't have this movie, you would be losing that aspect of it that I feel like this film, Halloween Kills specifically, drives that home. That whole the psychology element of this new franchise, which we really haven't had in the franchise before this. It's always been about Michael needs to kill Laurie Strode. 4
Right.
through 6, Michael
Mhm.
needs to kill Daniel Harris's character, whose name is
Right.
slipping
Right.
my mind. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's always been about that Michael has this goal. But what if Michael's just a crazy guy who decided to kill people and he's just completely blank in the head because of that?
And what better way to honor John Carpenter? I mean, we talk about Scream honoring Wes. John Carpenter always that's how he envisioned it. Like
Mhm.
he didn't
Laurie
want to write two. Like he did
Yeah,
not want to write two.
yeah.
And when he was forced to make that film, he had to put in all this like backstory about how they're brother and
Yes.
sister. And honestly, that's what ruins two for me. I really like two besides that.
Yeah.
But
But
they try
from-
to explain stuff. and stuff.
yeah, and from 2 on out, we were stuck by it because there was no way.
Mhm.
There was
No
no
way
way to
around it,
say.
yeah.
There was no way to say. Well, psych, they're not brother and sister. No, they were brother and sister, and Michael is back. So
They were
who
half.
can Michael chase? Well, she has a daughter, so he's
Yeah.
gonna chase an 8-year-old. And
Yeah.
don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, I enjoyed Daniel Harris in those movies, and I was of a certain age. But at the end of the day, Michael's chasing a little girl.
Right.
What's going on? And they were stuck in that mode for so long. And I think this in Halloween Kills, this frees it up. So no matter what happens and ends, they could do whatever they want down the road, because now Michael is not tied to Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It also
know.
doesn't
So-
matter if Laurie wins in this next one or not. It
Yeah.
really
No,
yeah.
doesn't. It's not
No.
that important for Laurie
No.
to kill Michael Myers. It is in her head, but it's
Right.
not important for the storyline, which
Story
I think
itself,
is
yeah.
this is the first time where they don't have to follow a certain playbook for
Mm.
how they have to end this thing. They can end it however they want, because this is a world without those kinds of rules and limitations.
So here's my thing though. All the points and everything you guys made. You're telling me that the same things couldn't have been established if there was just 2 movies and they had that same.
Well, we don't know what
Footage
ends. We don't know
in
what's going to
those
happen
two-
in ends yet, though.
No, I know, but I'm saying like everything that was in, or even if they just added it to 18 and they just kind of restructured 18 to be able to incorporate this stuff, and you got just this fluid story with all of the elements of kills that you loved in 18. You're telling me that you would have been like, oh man, it would have been much better if all of that was in its own separate movie.
I got an answer for you. Yes, no, I got an answer for you, because 2018 had to reestablish that world. They had to reestablish. It was 40 years.
Yes.
We hadn't seen Laurie Strode, so you had to
Yes.
reestablish her. And in that particular story, you established what she went through with her daughter and subsequently her granddaughter, and they had to deal with that family dynamic. Michael gets out of the bus, he breaks free, and blah blah blah. I think that was plenty for one movie. Like if they, I mean, I don't know, maybe maybe they could have shaved some of it.
If they would have added another 30 minutes to the film, no one would have noticed anything. No one would have cared. No one would be like, God, this 30 minutes too long. Like, because if it was a great movie, it's a great movie. So you could have had the 30 minutes established in this, and then we'd be waiting for that conclusion and Halloween ends. And yes, we don't know what the conclusion's going to be, but we have an idea of at least somewhat.
Yeah,
of
we
what's
kind of know the ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah, in the ballpark. So we kind of have an idea. So if they would have just have had Halloween 18, end with like, the establishment of the town, coming together, getting riled up, all that stuff. You hit that home, and then maybe Halloween ends, starts with the flashbacks, and it establishes the connections and all that stuff. And it basically between the two films, from the end to the beginning of ends, basically is Halloween Kills. Nobody's gonna be like, man, I really wish they would have taken that first 30 minutes and that last 30 minutes and made it its own movie. Nobody's gonna say that. So everything that you all just said could have been established, as I said, in two movies. It's okay to be wrong.
You forgot about Big John and Little John. I love
Big
that.
Big John and Little John.
That's part of the movie.
Little John. Let me just say this, guys. I'll say this. I love how Fate is, dude. I admire your tenacity, bro, because you always find a way to bring everything back full circle. I know, man. I'm telling you, relentless. But I'll say this. I don't care. All this commentary we've had has been amazing, and I love to see Jake. It's nice to see you and Fate have. I had a little cracker moment there, seeing you guys go at it. That was fun.
Yeah.
Let me just say.
Still undefeated
for all.
Okay.
It's 3 versus 1.
My response.
And I smacked you all.
I think that's
all I'm saying.
Well, and I'll say this. In my last comment on 2018, on Halloween Kills.
I'm sorry I had to do you guys.
Is
like
that? I love the movie.
Where's the comments? We don't have the chat.
I wish. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. All right, I'm gonna say this right now because this is recorded, and so people that are watching this, you got to let us know what you think of this, as far as was Halloween Kills a bad movie or a good movie or worth it or whatever. I definitely got to see that because no, granted, Halloween Kills had a lot of controversy, and I think it's because kind of like what Jake said, you were doing something so different.
Yeah,
but
not everyone's like that. That's
right,
fair.
but I
didn't
like
mind
that
the difference though. That's my problem. I just wish it was more. I wish it was just more well constructed.
That makes it that outweighs the negatives for me personally, and I think for you it doesn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the fact that they decided to make a movie where it wasn't just Michael Myers killing people, and there was this big heroic ending where they stop him. They did something. They made a point to do something different, and I think for the most part they succeeded with that.
And a cliffhanger,
and the cliffhanger ending too. I'll admit the part of the movie I don't love is Judy Greer's death because Michael just kind of teleports behind her somehow and then starts murdering her. I have a problem with that. I'll admit.
The Shape,
yeah, he's the Shape. Whatever. But
I love it.
Now I'm starting to agree with Fate. God damn.
Oh no! He affected you. Evil guy.
Infected you with the evil.
But I love this movie for what it stands for and how different it is. And it's truly important for the franchise for doing something so wildly different like this. I mean, we've never had a movie that deals with these kinds of concepts, especially ones of the psychological, where we see not just Laurie going insane because of the Shape. We see the effects of everybody who is affected by Michael. It's not just Laurie. That's why we need this movie opposed to just 2018. That somewhat establishes that idea, but this one fleshes it out. And that's why I think the long run time is important. Because if they would have just had this kind of be something in passing where it's the mob things off to the side, they would have half-assed it. And I think that's what's so important about this movie is we see the mob mentality. We see them being crazy, literally killing the wrong person because of how paranoid they are about Michael and trying to stop him. They end up actually being evil themselves. It's who should I even root for at this point?
I enjoyed that, but you established
it's so chaotic.
20 minutes earlier. My thing is, okay, look.
I'm fine with them fleshing it out.
I am all for movies I've even said the same thing about Scream, this installment. I would rather see people take risks and chances, and I absolutely hate it, than them not doing anything at all. But I still want structure in a film. And this just didn't have a real structure to it. It wasn't a fluid film. And that's what I mean by it wasn't from a film perspective. You can't tell me that this was a great film. It was great for what it provided.
I think it's a great film. It's just not structured in a great film.
I think it was a great film.
From an what film is. Jake, you're a filmmaker. You like to make films. You can't tell me that this was that this would be that you would say like this is how I would make a film. No,
you're comparing this to a standalone movie though. This you can't compare this.
It is
No, it's not.
own movie.
It's a part of a trilogy.
It's part of a trilogy.
It's a bridge
Like-
gap film, but it's still its own movie. It's not
Right.
like it's not you if you weren't watching 18 and then immediately went into a new movie. No, you watched 18 and then years later this came out. And then another year from now you're going to have another movie. It is its own movie. And that's my point. And I get it. It's a bridge gap film. But that doesn't mean it can just be a jumble mess. And that's what it was. It was a jumbled mess.
Well,
Like you can't, Jake, tell me that is how you would do a film. You would your next film.
It's not. No, look,
Exactly,
I agree with you that it's
thank
not
you.
structured
It's
well.
not a
It's
film.
not like
It's
it's not
not
structured
a
well,
good-
but that's not the point. That's not the point of this movie. Not every movie has to have your perfect Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 style setup like that. This movie just does something different,
Pulp
and I can
Fiction.
see like, yeah, it's not set up the best way that it could be, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point of the movie. That's not the point. That's not what this film was set out to do. It wasn't meant to be a PG-13 slasher film where teenagers can go to it and make out with their girlfriend halfway through and then still understand what's happening at the end in the third act when the final girl is finally taken down the slasher. That's not the point of this movie. It's supposed to be about a deeper cut inside the town of Haddonfield and seeing a whole nother side of Michael. Where, like, yeah, he's kind of just killing the whole movie, but you
Right.
also see him pretty weak and vulnerable in that scene that you don't like in particular, where he's getting beat up by the town of Haddonfield, where it's almost like these two evils coming together and fighting each other. Even
Right.
though it's like, yeah, the movie logic doesn't make a whole lot of sense there.
Right,
I
right.
think it's great. I think it's finally Michael facing up for what he did in the past, even though he doesn't die particularly. I almost think that scene would be more powerful if like he was dead, so to say, air quotes.
Yeah,
That's my one
anyways.
problem with the Karen death. But I don't know. I really enjoy the film. I think it's fun. And Fate, that's totally fine if you don't like it.
Last thing I want to say, and then we'll let it go. But if this wasn't a Halloween film, if this wasn't Halloween Kills, and I showed you all this movie, you would think that this was a B-rated throwaway movie.
You mean if the killer wasn't Michael Myers,
If,
it was
if
like
this
some
was,
other
if
killer?
this was the exact same movie, but
Then it
was
wouldn't work.
Victor
Then it wouldn't
Crowley
work.
or something like that.
And that's the whole point, is because this
Yeah.
movie takes all of the baggage from the whole franchise and it tries to elevate it. And you know, it takes components from some of the other ones and obviously leans into the original. And that's what makes it special, is that it actually takes those elements, at least to me anyways, and it like it's empowered by those elements. But it wouldn't work if it was something else, because
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not,
this was
that's not
Jason, I
Halloween.
would hate this movie.
Yeah.
That's
for
what
sure.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a bias for Michael. This isn't a good film.
But
That
I will
proves
say
my-
this.
That proves my
That's
point.
not,
that
but
this
that's
was-
not why I like it.
Yeah, I was
that's
just about
what-
to say,
that's what
when we
you're
talk
gonna-
about,
yeah.
and I've said this with Steven too, when we talk about the Trinity, which I say is Jason, Michael, and Freddy. Oh, and when we did the Halloween series, like I told my brother in Coriander, I was like, I'm really afraid to do this because I know there's some of these movies that I just don't like. And I didn't want to just spend a lot of time ragging on the movies, although I really came to appreciate the franchise more. But when we talk about the Trinity, Michael was always kind of like third place for me. Like Jason was always my favorite of the three. So going into 2018, I was hopeful, but I had no idea what to expect. And I really enjoyed 2018. And then
I did
like,
too.
I might like Kills better. I mean, when we did our ranking, I was like, we're gonna have to revisit this because I really liked Kills as a Halloween movie, and that's the thing. I'm taking it from that context. You know, if it was a Jason movie, I'd be like, dude, this was bullshit. You know,
Yeah,
but that's because the mythologies, you know,
Yeah,
are
they're
obviously
totally different.
If they decided
Yeah.
to make a Friday the 13th film that focuses on the town of like
Crystal
Crystal Lake, and they decided to like talk about like maybe I'm just throwing stuff out, pulling stuff out of thin air, like Crazy Ralph, maybe his family, like what are they doing? Why are they upset that Crazy Ralph got killed in part 2? You know what I mean? Like, could we do a whole movie talking about that? Could that work with this franchise in the same way that Halloween Kills works with that franchise? And to what I would say is like, if they did it in the same way that David Gordon Green did, like, yeah, maybe, I guess.
Maybe.
But what's so cool about Halloween Kills is that had that question for a long time. I don't think anyone really cares that much about the townsfolk of Crystal Lake as much as we do the townsfolk of Haddonfield. They've always played this really important character in the background of those films that we've never really had it fleshed out that much until now. And I think that's why this movie is very important to the franchise and does something wildly different than just what Halloween 4 does, which is kind of just trying to do the exact same thing as the original.
Well, I have to say, as far as Halloween Kills, the fact that they had David Gordon Green had the cojones to do a flashback scene for 15 minutes of the movie to open this thing up was incredible. I mean, when this thing started up, and I'm like, oh, this is a risk. We're gonna go because you could flop this up so bad. And the fact that he pulled it off, and in my opinion, it was incredible. And I honestly felt like I was watching Halloween 2, like from 1980. I felt like I was literally there in that time frame again. And Jude, was it Jude? What's his name?
James Jude Courtney. James Jude Courtney.
Dude, when he walked down that alleyway in 78 and that 78 flashback, I almost got chill bumps, bro. I'm like, look at this. It looks like I'm watching Halloween 1. This is incredible. And so I immediately was already like, this to me, this is elevated from 2018. And so when the movie was done, here's how I figure out if I like a movie. All right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways, but one of the big ways is when I turn it off, if I feel like I have experienced something really enjoyable, like I have this euphoric feeling, like this was a good movie. I felt that way when I turned off Halloween Kills. In fact, I was already excited to watch it again, and that's not for you. Not a lot of movies give you that feeling. And for me, and even though the hospital scene the whole thing was way too long, I'm the first to admit. But honestly, I liked it. I liked everything. I like, I can call it convoluted, whatever you want. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how Laurie's realizing it's not about her. She doesn't realize it yet, but she thinks it's all about her still. But and I'm not going to rehash everything we talked about, but you guys have hit it all. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I did like it better than 2018. I did. I actually enjoyed it. Right now, it's my second favorite movie after Halloween 1. So,
well, let's see what the comment section says.
You guys do what you want to with that.
Hey, look, I can see Faye right now. He's gonna be counting them up. Like, wait a minute. Yes.
But you know what? And it's okay. That's the fun thing about this.
Exactly. I don't really care. I mean,
it's a movie.
It's all just good fun.
It's all fun. But enjoy. If you like it, it's okay. If you don't, it's okay.
Yeah, and that's what's great about movies. One of my good friends, he's a YouTuber too, Grande's Graveyard. He calls it Michael Wick because he's saying Michael Myers was basically like John Wick in this movie. And I was like, and granted, I love John Wick too, but yes, I see what he was saying about that. But they were just trying to show that power of Michael. They were trying to show that in film. And I dug it. Some people, it didn't land, which, that's fine too. But I really dug it.
For what the movie is, like, it was everything that I expected it to be. Like, which is probably part of the reasons why I didn't like it so much. Like, I knew this was just going to be a reel of Michael's greatest hits. Like, it's going to be Michael just running through the town. It's not going to be a jumble of a movie. It's going to have its moments, which it did. It had its moments. Flashback scene. I really enjoyed it. And the way that they did that, if you saw how they were able to create those flashback scenes and stuff, that was great. Like, it had its moments, but that doesn't mean it was good overall. And it's just, I don't know. It's true.
But it wasn't good. It was great.
Yeah. We can all be wrong sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, look, and there we're talking.
That's cool. That's cool. That's better than the
That's
movie.
awesome, bro.
Oh, stop it, Faith. Come on.
Dude, that's good. I'm ready to see the extended cut now, man. You got me excited to watch the extended cut. I got to see that this week.
It's just another 10 minutes of the hospital.
Go stop it. No. You're horrible, man.
It's just people hanging out in the hospital. That's all it is.
5 more minutes of them saying evil dies tonight.
I was trying to say it without laughing, but I couldn't.
He goes down to the next level and goes up to the next level. And just keep chasing him.
That's horrible. All right, guys.
All right, I'm sorry.
We
We're
have to
gonna
end
get
this
ready.
eventually,
I know,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
2.5 hours. I
Yes.
think that's probably good.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So,
but in all
hey,
seriousness, I actually I genuinely enjoy these conversations. Like
I do
you know
too.
whether
Oh, yeah.
whether I'm on
Yeah. Oh,
whether
yeah.
I'm on one side or the other, I do, and I genuinely feel this way. Like I don't mind playing devil's advocate sometimes just to like stir up some drama, you know, because we're here to talk and have discussions. But I genuinely feel that way about the film. It's just so I
Yeah.
do I love hearing all perspectives, you know, even though you
Right.
guys were wrong. But it's
Stop it.
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you
I don't know about that.
and it's funny too, man, because you know, and of course, when I know Halloween Kills gets brought up in conversations,
Yeah.
I'm always ready for one side or the
Yeah,
other.
and
And
the
like I
other,
said,
yeah.
we already had conversations with,
It is.
I mean, some really, you know, cool YouTubers that love horror and love the franchise, and I've seen it go both ways as
Yeah.
far as their opinion. So I'm
Yeah.
used to it. But
Oh, yeah.
but
It's
but
all
it is
it's
a
all
good
just
movie.
fun. It is. It's all
It is
just good fun.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, this was fun for you guys watching this recording. You have got to let us know what you think about all of these topics we talked about. What do you think of Halloween Kills? What do you think about Mariah Carey? Is she
Oh,
over?
yes.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Anyways,
What's your favorite Christmas horror movie too? That's another.
yes,
Yeah, that's a good
Christmas
one.
horror.
I'd love to hear your
Yes.
favorite Christmas horror movie.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Is The Nightmare Before Christmas, is that a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie or both? You got to let us know in the comment section. We're going to catch you guys later. And the collective has spoken.
See you
Catch you
guys in the
later.
next
See you guys. Merry Christmas.